Chapter 231. Unlike the majority of the audience outside the arena, there were a small number of observant and knowledgeable soul masters who discovered the essence of the Tsanghui Academy's 7-man soul fusion skill. However, even so, they were still very surprised by the Tsanghui Academy's 7-man soul fusion skill. After all, although the difficulty was lower than the 7-man soul fusion skill, it was not easy to coordinate the soul skills of 7 soul masters together. Of course, looking at this scene, Shrek's team only revealed a mocking expression. 7-man soul fusion skill? Sorry, we have it too. Furthermore, our 7-man soul fusion skill is even stronger and more invincible. We are the undisputed kings of this year's Soul Master Tournament. At this moment, in the dazzling and magnificent 7 Shura illusion in the center of the arena, all kinds of illusions appeared in the hearts of the Martial Spirit Hall team members. In their eyes, all kinds of scenes that they feared or cherished the most appeared. In front of Hulaina, she saw her teacher, Bibidon, flying into a rage at her and wanting to expel her from the sect. In front of Evil Moon, he saw his sister, Hulaina, being tortured by the enemy and on the verge of death. In front of Yen, the face of his deceased mother actually appeared again. In just a few seconds, the members of the Martial Spirit Hall team had already fallen into the 7 Shura illusion cast by the Tsanghui Academy team. Confusion appeared in their eyes. Even Hulaina, who had the strongest spiritual power among the team members, fell into a nightmare. However, in the Martial Spirit Hall team, there was one person who did not fall into the illusion. That exception was the captain of the Martial Spirit Hall team, Wang Kai, who was standing at the front of the Martial Spirit Hall team. Although his soul power cultivation was only at the Soul Emperor level, Wang Kai's spiritual power was already half liquefied. His actual spiritual cultivation was comparable to a Soul Dolua. Although this illusion was strong, it could only confuse a soul sage at most. It could not pose any threat to Wang Kai at all. Other than that, Wang Kai's martial soul, Emperor Shura, also gave Wang Kai a great resistance against spiritual-type skills. Even a titled Dola or 100,000-year soul beast proficient in illusions would not be able to make Wang Kai fall into an illusion, let alone the small Tsanghui Academy team. Humph! You want to defeat our Martial Spirit Palace with such a trashy illusion? You must be dreaming. Wang Kai snorted coldly and charged forward with Shura's dragon-slaying spear in his hand. How is this possible? Even if a soul sage falls into our illusions, there's a high chance that he'll fall into our illusions. How did you escape? Seeing Wang Kai charging towards him, the captain of the Tsanghui Academy's team opened his mouth wide, his face revealing a shocked expression, his eyes flashing with disbelief. That's because your illusions are too weak, while my mental strength is very strong. After answering indifferently, Wang Kai's figure had already charged into the formation formed by the Tsanghui Academy team. Facing a few soul ancestors, Wang Kai did not even need to use his everlasting blood spear technique. With a sweep of his spear, the 7 members of the Tsanghui Academy team were all swept to the ground by Wang Kai. Although Wang Kai deliberately suppressed his strength, the 7 members of the Tsanghui Academy still felt a sharp pain in their internal organs, and their 7-person fusion skill could not continue. The faint 7-colored fog in the sky quickly dissipated, and the remaining 6 members of the Martial Spirit Palace team finally escaped from the terrifying illusion. The first match of the 3rd day has ended. Martial Spirit Palace team wins, 1 point. Tsanghui Academy loses, 0 points. Seeing the result of the match, the referee's eyes also revealed a surprised expression. He also mistook the Tsanghui Academy's skill for the 7-person martial soul fusion skill. However, out of professionalism, he did not show his surprise on his face, but loudly announced the result of the match through the sound-transmitting soul tool. At this time, many of the audience in the arena also turned their attention to Wang Kai. After the 7-colored fog dissipated, the positions of the other 6 members of the Martial Spirit Palace team did not change. Only Wang Kai alone charged into the Zhanghui Academy team. In other words, the feat of breaking the Zhanghui Academy's fusion skill was almost completed by Wang Kai alone. The audience naturally became curious about Wang Kai, the mysterious holy son of the Martial Spirit Palace. Facing the astonished gazes of the audience, Wang Kai also smiled faintly, then calmly opened his mouth and said a sentence. "You don't have to look at me like that, that was not a 7-person martial soul fusion skill." After that, he also returned to the preparation area with the remaining 6 members of the Martial Spirit Palace team. However, at this time, there was still a trace of sluggishness in their eyes. Obviously, they had not recovered from the illusion. "Very good, Wang Kai. Fortunately, you came out this time. Otherwise, we might have really capsized in the gutter." Looking at Wang Kai, who led the team back, Li Ning and the other 2 mentors also had a look of relief in their eyes. However, they also had some doubts. Did Wang Kai know some information in advance, so he insisted on coming out? However, Wang Kai's identity was the Holy Son of the Martial Spirit Palace, so the 3 mentors did not dare to ask too much. However, they still had lingering fears about this victory. If Wang Kai did not personally come out, the Martial Spirit Palace team might have really lost this match. After all, except for Wang Kai, even Hu Laiina, who had the 2nd strongest spiritual power, had fallen into the illusion and had almost no resistance. Even if they lost a battle, it would not affect the Martial Spirit Palace team's result of advancing as the winner. However, if the Martial Spirit Palace team was defeated by the small Zhanghui Academy team, it would be a great loss of face for the Martial Spirit Palace, and the mentors who caused all of this would probably face extremely severe punishment. This Zhanghui Academy team's martial soul fusion skill is indeed quite powerful, and can even affect one's soul and spiritual power. However, to me it's actually just SOSO. However, Laiina and the rest's minds have been affected to a certain extent. Maybe we need to find some healing-type soul masters to help alleviate it. After exchanging a few words with Li Ning, Wang Kai also turned back to return to the team. Then, he sat beside Hu Laiina to help her ease her mood. At this time, it was the best time to gain the favor of the young girl. Sure enough, under Wang Kai's comfort, Hu Laiina's mood gradually calmed down. Then, she lay in Wang Kai's arms and rested. On the other side, everyone from the Zhanghui Academy also returned to the preparation area unwillingly. They were also extremely surprised by the fact that Wang Kai had broken their illusion. Originally, they were prepared to use the Martial Spirit Palace team as a stepping stone and then become famous in one battle. Unexpectedly, their wishful thinking was easily broken, which made them extremely depressed. Chapter 232. After defeating the Zhanghui Academy, Wang Kai took care of Hu Laiina, who was sleeping soundly in his arms, while watching the rest of the battles on the soul dueling stage. Compared to the original timeline, the strength of all the participating teams had increased. However, these teams were basically unable to threaten Wang Kai's Martial Soul Hall team. In Wang Kai's mind, his only enemy was Tang San's Shrek Academy team, who possessed the Child of Destiny. And today, Shrek's opponent was the Star Luo Empire's Star Luo Imperial family team. This was also a battle that Wang Kai was rather concerned about. In the Star Luo Imperial family team's main team, there was Dai Mubai's brother, Davis, and Zhu Zhuqing's sister, Zhu Zhuyun. The relationship between these two couples could be said to be like fire and water. At the same time, the Star Luo Imperial family team had a total of 3 Soul Kings, just like Shrek's team. Therefore, it was the first time that Shrek's 7 monsters had all appeared on stage to face this strong team. As the battle began, Davis and Zhu Zhuyun, Dai Mubai and Zhu Zhuqing practically held each other's hands at the same time. After that, 2 enormous, ferocious, and majestic netherworld white tigers appeared in the center of the stage at almost the same time. a martial soul fusion skill, and 2 martial soul fusion skills in a single match. Almost everyone in the audience was shocked at this moment. Only Wang Kai, who was a transmigrator, and a few powerful figures weren't too surprised. In the audience, the person who was most concerned about this match was none other than the Star Luo Empire's emperor, Dai Outyin. There were descendants of his in both teams, and after witnessing Dai Mubai's strength, this abandoned descendant was once again on Dai Outyin's list of candidates to be evaluated. Under the watchful eyes of the audience, the members of the 2 teams were also engaged in an intense battle. 2 enormous netherworld white tigers pounced and tore at each other in the air, and the other team members were also engaged in battle. Soul rings flickered frequently on the arena, and gorgeous and mystical soul skills came and went. It was an extremely spectacular scene. Although the Star Luo royal family was very strong, Shrek Academy's team was stronger than them. This was especially true for Shrek's team, which had Tang San, who had lived 2 lifetimes, and was an experienced commander. They also had Ning Rongrong, who possessed the 7 treasures glazed pagoda. After fighting for close to 10 minutes, Shrek's team finally defeated the Star Luo royal family. At this point, Shrek's team had finally entered the eyes of the audience. Although Shrek's team was initially considered a dark horse, very few people believed that they could create a miracle and enter the finals. But now, people had truly discovered Shrek's abilities, and there were more and more bets on Shrek's team in the black market and the betting arena. Soon, the 3rd day of the competition was over. On the 4th day of the competition, Martial Soul Hall's opponent was the Star Luo Empire's Qi Lan Academy. This was an advanced Soul Master Academy from one of the Star Luo Empire's divisions. Their captain was only a rank 48 Soul Ancestor, and they even had a Soul Elder as a member. It was very obvious that this team was just a passerby team. Facing such a team, Wang Kai naturally didn't need to participate. Because of this, after returning to the Green Xian Hall, Wang Kai had a round of intimacy with Chihiro Snow, Ning Yuxian, Dai Qingli, and Zhu Yiling and made them obedient. After that, he let them sleep peacefully amidst the pain and joy. Of course, the next morning, Wang Kai didn't forget about Mo Shu from the small plane, and bestowed her with the same wonderful treatment. On the 4th day of the competition, Martial Soul Hall's team easily defeated Qi Lan Academy, and Shrek Academy's team also defeated their opponents effortlessly. Finally, the 5th day of the promotion competition had arrived, and at this time, the competition was already halfway through. On this day, Martial Soul Hall's team welcomed their next opponent, Skywater Academy. This time, Wang Kai participated in the competition once again. On one hand, it was naturally because Wang Kai knew that Skywater Academy had martial soul fusion skills. Although Martial Soul Hall also had Hulaina and Evil Moon's martial soul fusion skills, it was naturally better to reveal such a trump card as late as possible. On the other hand, Wang Kai's 3rd soul skill had already been revealed, so it wouldn't be a big deal to use it again. On the other hand, Wang Kai naturally had his own selfish motives for participating in the competition. Both Shui Bing-er and Shui Yu were very strong-willed girls. If he could personally defeat them, it was very likely that they would worship and have a good impression of him. At that time, it would be easier for him to bring these 2 beautiful sisters into his big family. Next, let's begin the first match of the 3rd day, Martial Soul Hall's team against Skywater Academy's team. Following the host's enthusiastic words, Wang Kai's team, Martial Soul Hall's team, and Skywater Academy's team entered the stage one after another, and then stood on both sides of the stage. Seeing that both sides had entered the stage, the referee also signaled for the members of both teams to salute each other. Wang Kai also stared at Shui Bing-er's and Shui Yu's beautiful faces and figures once again. Today, Shui Bing-er was still wearing the beautiful Skywater Academy's team uniform, which vividly displayed her perfect figure. Her skin was like snow, white and smooth, and it was very pleasing to the eyes. Behind Shui Bing-er's snow-white jade back, there was a head of aqua-blue hair draped over her shoulders, which made her look very beautiful. Her pair of deep and clear blue eyes were like sapphires that could move one's soul. Her beautiful face was adorned with incomparably exquisite facial features, and she exuded a light and cold beauty, causing a strong desire to conquer her to rise from the bottom of one's heart. Shui Yu'er, who was standing beside Shui Bing'er, was also very beautiful. Although she was slightly younger, Shui Yu'er's curvaceous figure made her appear even more enchanting than her sister. Her slim waist and swaying posture displayed the most perfect part of her figure in front of Wang Kai. Her facial features were also very unique, and her eyes were like a pool of clear water. When she looked at them, one couldn't help but feel a kind of captivating feeling, which moved one's heart. Shui Bing'er and Shui Yu'er were already very beautiful, and when the sisters, who had almost the same temperament, stood together, the two of them reflected each other's beauty, which undoubtedly increased by a lot. They attracted the gazes of countless young male soul masters and nobles in the arena. On the other side, Shui Bing'er and Shui Yu'er also felt Wang Kai's burning gaze, and couldn't help but blush, and their hearts couldn't help but beat faster. "Sister, it seems like His Highness Wang Kai is looking at us," Shui Yu'er whispered softly into Shui Bing'er's ear. "It seems like it, Yu'er. His Highness Wang Kai might really like us. That's really great. We must also perform well and display our strength, so that we can truly attract His Highness Wang Kai's heart. Let's do our best together." Hearing Shui Yu'er's words, Shui Bing'er whispered into Shui Yu'er's ear. "Yes, let's do our best together." Hearing Shui Bing'er's words, Shui Yu'er also revealed a brilliant smile, and then said together. Chapter 233. Captain of the Martial Soul Hall, Wang Kai, rank 63 Assault-type Soul Master. As he admired the beautiful sisters, Wang Kai revealed a faint smile of satisfaction. He then announced his name and rank. Captain of the Skywater Academy, Shui Bing'er, rank 51 Control-type Soul Master. Hearing Wang Kai's voice, a trace of happiness appeared on Shui Bing'er's face. She then hurriedly replied. Her voice was filled with gentleness, just like a little girl. She didn't have the arrogance and domineering aura of a soul king. "Both sides get ready. You can now release your martial souls." Seeing that both sides had finished greeting each other, the referee immediately announced that the match had entered the preparation stage. After that, they quickly left the soul dueling stage. Just like before, the Martial Soul Hall's team members were still Wang Kai, Hu Laina, Evil Moon Yen, Yu Hao, Su Lan, and Li Yueming. Their positions were still the same as before. Wang Kai stood at the front, Evil Moon Yen, and Hu Laina stood in the middle. Yu Hao wandered around the stage, and as a defense-type Soul Master, Su Lan stayed at the back to protect the support of the team, Li Yueming. Unlike the Martial Soul Hall's formation, the Skywater Academy's team had 3 Assault-type Soul Masters at the front. Shui Bing'er, Shui Yu'er, and Xuewu were in the middle. There was also a young girl with long black hair and a somewhat pale face standing at the back. Compared to the Martial Soul Hall, the Skywater Academy's strength was more average. Other than the rank 51 Soul King, Shui Bing'er, the second strongest member of the Skywater Academy, was the rank 49 Soul Ancestor, Xuewu. The rest of the team members were either rank 46 or 47. Not only were their strengths similar, but the 7 members of the Skywater Academy also had nearly the same soul rings. Other than Shui Bing'er's 2 yellow, 2 purple, and 1 black soul ring, the other 6 had 2 yellow and 2 purple soul rings. Furthermore, the color of their martial souls was basically the same, a gentle and beautiful aqua blue. After using martial soul possession, Shui Bing'er's whole body was shrouded in a layer of hazy blue light. A circle of dazzling blue light floated behind Shui Bing'er, looking very gorgeous, but also exuding an extremely powerful and cold aura. If one looked carefully, one could see a luxurious and beautiful ice phoenix phantom in the blue light behind her. This was her martial soul, the ice phoenix. It was one of the most powerful martial souls. After using the martial soul possession, her appearance had improved a bit, adding a noble and elegant beauty to her beauty. As Shui Bing-er's younger sister, Shui Yu-er's martial soul was also an ice phoenix. After she used her martial soul possession, Shui Yu-er's aura also rose by a level. At the same time, she faintly resonated with Shui Bing-er. Not only that, but after her transformation, Shui Yu-er's temperament became even colder and more noble, causing others to have a strong desire to conquer her. However, unlike Shui Bing-er and Shui Yu-er, who had become even more beautiful after their transformation, the other three Soul Masters from Skywater Academy didn't become even more beautiful after using martial soul possession. Instead, their appearances became a little strange and even ugly. The three Assault-type Soul Masters standing at the front of Skywater Academy had some fine scales on their bodies after martial soul possession. They were like fish scales. Shui Wu's martial soul, who was next to Shui Bing-er, had an additional layer of bright enamel on her skin. The black-haired Soul Master standing at the back had his skin completely turned blue. Both sides are done. The competition will now officially begin. Seeing that both sides had finished releasing their martial souls, the referee nodded his head slightly. After that, he used the loudspeaker in his hand to announce the start of the competition. "Everyone, attack!" Wang Kai shouted faintly. Immediately after, he activated his soul force. His third soul ring flashed behind him, and the blood-colored Shura's dragon-slaying spear appeared in his hand. After that, he tapped his right foot and took the lead in charging. Holding the Shura's dragon-slaying spear, he went straight for the three Soul Masters in front of him. At this time, other than Su Lan and Li Yuemeng, the other four Soul Masters from the Martial Soul Hall followed closely behind Wang Kai and attacked together with Wang Kai. Li Yuemeng used her six-colored ring to provide strong support to her team members, while Su Lan used her second soul skill, the Shield of Earth, to firmly protect herself and Li Yuemeng. "Delay them!" Shui Bing-er, who was standing in the center, ordered indifferently. After that, her first and second soul rings flashed behind her. Immediately, the Soul Masters from the Martial Soul Hall felt a chill all over their bodies. Their advancing bodies suddenly stopped, and their entire bodies were frozen in a layer of solid ice. Instant release, strong control. This attack from Shui Bing-er had already proved the power of her soul skills and the strength of her control over them. Of course, although Shui Bing-er's attack was strong, it was impossible to trap the stronger members of the Martial Soul Hall. In less than a moment, Wang Kai had already broken through the layer of ice with his spear. Blazing flames ignited beside Yen, melting the layer of ice. Evil Moon, Hu Liena, and Yu Hao on the side relied on their powerful soul force to break out. Only Su Lan and Li Yuemeng were still trapped in the ice. However, Shui Bing-er's goal was not to trap the members of the Martial Soul Hall, but to stall for time. At the same time when she released her soul skills, Shui Bing-er and Shui Yu-er held each other's hands. Suddenly, Shui Bing-er and Shui Yu-er's originally faintly resonating aura began to fuse crazily. Circles of blue halos spread out in all directions with Shui Bing-er and Shui Yu-er as the center. At the same time, an extremely dark cloud appeared directly above the soul dueling arena, completely enveloping the arena. Then, bean-sized raindrops began to fall from the sky, turning into a large curtain of water that tilted downwards. Martial Soul Fusion Skill. It's actually another Martial Soul Fusion skill. This year's Soul Master Tournament is really worth it. Seeing this scene, the audience's eyes suddenly revealed a light of excitement. Martial Soul Fusion skills were very rare. Being able to see it once naturally made them feel excited. These raindrops falling from the sky were not ordinary raindrops. The temperature was extremely cold. As soon as they came into contact with the members of the Martial Soul Hall, they immediately felt a bone-piercing chill. Of course, these cold raindrops did not fall on the girls of the Skywater Academy. When they came close to their bodies, they quietly slid down. At the same time as the raindrops fell, the air in the soul dueling arena began to fill with a peerlessly terrifying chill, causing frost to appear on the skin of the people. Their movements and attack speed were continuously reduced, and their soul power was also somewhat stagnant. Drifting ice and snow. Accompanied by a delicate shout, Shui Bing and Shui Yu who were holding each other's hands, fused together in the next moment, turning into an extremely dazzling blue and white light that rushed into the dark clouds in the sky. Shui Bing and Shui Yu's bodies disappeared at the same time, and their martial soul fusion skill finally erupted. Chapter 234. Just as the figures of Shui Yu and Shui Bing fused and disappeared, the dark clouds in the sky quietly changed. They became denser, and the brightness of the entire soul dueling stage suddenly decreased by a notch. At the same time, the freezing rain that fell from the sky also changed shape. It turned into a snowflake that was as sharp as a blade. It fluttered down from the sky and covered the ground of the soul dueling stage with a thick layer of frost. Not only that, but the cold wind in the arena also became fiercer. The flying snow in the sky turned into a huge ice vortex that swept towards the martial soul hall team. Even the audience dozens of meters away from the soul dueling stage felt the bone-piercing chill and couldn't help but shiver. Shui Yu and Shui Bing were soul kings and soul ancestors respectively. Their martial souls were the same, so the power of their martial soul fusion skill was very terrifying. It was already at the level of an ordinary soul sage without using their martial soul true body. This kind of power was enough to change the environment in a small area. Everyone, don't panic. Don't worry and just watch the match. Seeing the panic of the audience, the Holy Dragon Doluo, who was sitting in the VIP seats, stood up at this time. His vigorous soul power enveloped the entire soul dueling stage and the cold air in the soul dueling stage as he commanded. Although Shui Yu and Shui Bing's martial soul fusion skill was powerful, it was a piece of cake in front of the Holy Dragon Doluo. Under the Holy Dragon Doluo's soul power, the temperature in the soul dueling stage finally returned to normal. At this time, on the soul dueling stage, Hu Laina moved closer to Wang Kai's ear and anxiously asked, "Captain, the power of this soul skill is too terrifying. What should we do? Do you need me and Evil Moon to use our martial soul fusion skill together?" "Laina, there's no need for that for now. If we want to break this soul skill, I alone will be enough. You guys stay by Yan's side. His martial soul, the Flame Overlord, is a soul skill that restrains the ice element. It will protect you very well. I alone will be enough for the rest." Hearing Hu Laina's question, Wang Kai revealed a confident smile and then calmly replied, "Yes, Captain, I understand." While agreeing, Hu Laina led Evil Moon, Yu Hao, Su Lan, Li Yuemeng, and the rest to Yan's side. Meanwhile, Yan activated Blazing Body to release heat to resist the cold. He also released a flame shield to block the sharp blades and flying snow outside his body. Just as the members of the Martial Soul Palace were making adjustments, Shui Bing and Shui Yu's cold voice rang out from the dark clouds in the sky. "Your Highness Wang Kai, our martial soul fusion skill is enough to threaten even soul sages. If you can't hold on any longer, hurry up and admit defeat. Don't get frostbitten." "Miss Bing Miss Yu don't worry. Although your martial soul fusion skill is powerful, it's still far from being able to defeat our martial soul hall team. Bring it on." While lamenting the kindness of Shui Bing and Shui Yu, Wang Kai also replied with a faint smile. "All right, Your Highness Wang Kai, then we won't hold back." While replying, Shui Bing and Shui Yu also activated their Snowdrift soul skill with all their might. Immediately, the speed and quantity of the falling snow in the sky increased explosively, shooting towards the members of the Martial Soul Hall team crazily. The cold wind in the arena also became sharper, and the ice and snow tornadoes became more powerful. Drifting snowflakes. It was a beautiful name, but it was also a name that was filled with killing intent. It was enough to kill a Soul Emperor, and even a Soul Sage would be injured by it. Of course, Wang Kai was naturally not inferior to ordinary Soul Emperors. Even if he only used the third soul skill of his first martial Soul Emperor Shura, Wang Kai's strength was already comparable to a Soul Sage without using his martial soul true body. And after using Emperor Shura, Wang Kai could even defeat low-level Soul Sages. However, although Wang Kai was powerful, the main strength of a Soul Master was still in his martial soul. Now that Wang Kai did not use his martial soul possession, Wang Kai felt a slight pain on his skin when the snowflakes that were sharper than sharp blades cut into his body. Very good. Then, I'll let you see the power of my martial soul possession. Looking at the dark clouds in the sky, Wang Kai nodded slightly, and then crazily activated his soul power. Shura's martial soul possession. As Wang Kai shouted, Shura's scales grew on Wang Kai's body, completely covering Wang Kai's body. At the same time, Wang Kai's heart started to beat more vigorously. Shura's blood surged in his body, dispelling all the coldness that had entered his body. The sharp snowflakes only left a faint white mark on Wang Kai's body, and couldn't do any real damage to Wang Kai. Not only that, but two mighty Shura's horns grew on both sides of Wang Kai's forehead. They were incomparably sharp and ferocious, and Wang Kai's fingernails became thicker, turning into Shura's claws that flashed with black light. At the same time, Shura's thorns emerged from Wang Kai's body, transforming Wang Kai's body into the most powerful weapon of war. Following the transformation of his body, blood-colored baleful aura crazily condensed around Wang Kai's body. His aura rose sharply, but under the cover of the flying snow, only Tang San and a few other Soul Masters could see Wang Kai's appearance. Break for me! Now that Shura's possession was complete, Wang Kai was no longer afraid of the cold wind around him. He raised the Shura's dragon-slaying spear and pierced it towards the clouds in the sky. Blood-red spear shadows burst out from the tip of the dragon-slaying spear and shot towards the clouds in the sky. Then, the clouds exploded and turned into clouds of baleful aura that were formed by Shura's dragon-slaying spear. Shura's baleful aura began to corrode the clouds as soon as it came into contact with them. The essence of the clouds was actually the soul power of the sisters. Under the corrosion of Wang Kai's Shura's baleful aura, their soul power was being consumed at a much faster rate. The cold wind and temperature on the dueling soul stage also stopped. His Highness Wang Kai is so strong. I can't hold on much longer. It seems like we have to use that move. But once we use that move, we won't be able to control it. What if we hurt His Highness Wang Kai? His Highness Wang Kai looks like he's doing it with ease. We can't let him look down on us. Otherwise, we won't have the chance to serve him. Okay, let's do it this way then. Within the dark clouds, Shui Bing and Shui Yu's faces revealed a trace of bitterness as they felt their soul force being rapidly eroded. After some discussion, they finally made a choice. Following which, an endless amount of cold air began to surge towards Shui Bing and Shui Yu. Chapter 235. Under the control of Shui Yu and Shui Bing, a massive amount of cold air was crazily condensed in the air. The snowflakes in the form of a tornado also flew high into the sky and finally condensed in the air, forming a terrifying blue ice phoenix with a body length of nearly 10 meters and a wingspan of nearly 15 meters. Different from the blurry ice phoenix that appeared behind Shui Yu and Shui Bing when they used their martial soul possession, this ice phoenix made of ice and snow looked very clear, as if it was real. This ice phoenix had bright eyes, lifelike wings, and slender tail feathers. It looked very beautiful and moving. However, if one sensed it carefully, one would find that the body of this ice phoenix contained a huge amount of power of ice and snow. It was extremely dangerous. Once it was released, it would definitely have endless power and could cause terrifying destruction. At the same time when this ice phoenix was formed, a loud phoenix cry sounded from the blue light column that soared into the sky. Then, a terrible pressure suddenly shrouded the entire soul battle stage. Although this was just a dead object formed by the ice and snow power, the pressure emitted by this ice phoenix was very terrifying. Except for Wang Kai, the other 6 members of the Martial Spirit Palace team couldn't help but feel a chill in their hearts. Even Yen, who had the Flame Lord martial soul, felt a kind of fear that came from his soul. If he was hit directly by this ice phoenix, not to mention the other members of the Martial Spirit Palace team that he was protecting, even he wouldn't be able to escape. He would definitely be killed in one hit. What a terrible power! It's really terrifying. Yeah, don't look at me as a whole realm higher than them. I can't take this move. Sect Master Ning is right. There will be new talents in every generation. We are already old. The future will belong to these young talents. Sensing the terrifying power contained within this ice phoenix, some of the spectators exclaimed loudly in admiration, some gasped in shock, some revealed disappointed expressions, and some even had the will to fight. Your Highness Wang Kai, if you can't take this attack, please admit defeat now. Otherwise, once it is released, we won't be able to fully control the power of this attack. In the air above the soul dueling stage, Shui Bing-er and Shui Yu-er's voices mixed together, clearly passing into Wang Kai's ears. At this time, Shui Bing-er and Shui Yu-er had already gone all out. At this time, the ice phoenix in the sky condensed terrifying energy. They could only guide it, but they were unable to control it. Miss Bing-er and Miss Yu-er, thank you for your concern. However, you don't have to worry that I won't be able to withstand this attack. Otherwise, I wouldn't be qualified to be the Martial Spirit Palace's holy son. Come at me, I'll show you my true strength. With a kind smile on his face, Wang Kai faintly raised his head and thanked Shui Yu-er and Shui Bing-er in the air. Then, he turned around and loudly ordered the Martial Spirit Palace team members behind him. Yen, take the other team members and retreat from the arena immediately. Once this kind of attack is used, even the aftershocks will cause you to be seriously injured. Let me handle it alone. Yes, Captain. Hearing Wang Kai's words, Yen heaved a sigh of relief. Then, he quickly led the Martial Spirit Palace team members and rushed down the arena. At the same time, the other members of the Skywater Academy also quickly jumped down from the arena. Even if this Ice Phoenix was a soul skill released by their teammates, and even if they themselves possessed powerful water-type abilities, they didn't dare to stay in the Ice Phoenix's attack range. Otherwise, what awaited them was only serious injuries, or even death. With the departure of the 2 teams, Wang Kai was the only one left standing in the soul dueling stage. And he, alone, would face the Ice Phoenix that contained boundless power in the sky. Your Highness Wang Kai, we'll offend you then. Following Shui Yu-er's and Shui Bing-er's cold and apologetic voices, the gorgeous Ice Phoenix descended from the sky. Without a trace of smoke or fire, it transformed into a dazzling icy blue light that floated down from the sky. Riding on the boundless power of the Ice Phoenix, it bombarded Wang Kai. At this time, the snow that was drifting down from the soul dueling stage began to dissipate due to the Ice Phoenix's condensation. Wang Kai's mighty and domineering figure appeared in front of the audience, attracting everyone's attention. Can he succeed? This was the only question in the audience's minds. Compared to the terrifying Ice Phoenix in the sky that was close to 10 meters long, Wang Kai's body seemed so small. It seemed impossible for him to resist the Ice Phoenix that was dozens of times larger than him. However, the audience also noticed that Wang Kai's expression and tone were so calm and confident. It was as if he didn't see the Ice Phoenix descending from the sky as a threat at all. Furthermore, as the holy son of the Martial Spirit Palace, how could Wang Kai's strength be compared to an ordinary Soul Emperor? Perhaps he really did have the confidence to defeat the Ice Phoenix. Captain, you can do it. You'll definitely succeed. At the same time, Hulaina and the others who had escaped from the stage were also staring at Wang Kai. They were confident in Wang Kai's strength, But when they saw the Ice Phoenix, they couldn't help but clench their fists. In their hearts, they were cheering for Wang Kai. The Ice Phoenix in the air didn't move very quickly, but it would continue to absorb the residual frost chi and snowflakes on the Soul battle platform with every step it took. As a result, its body became more solid, and the energy it contained became more powerful and terrifying. The Ice Phoenix was still several dozen meters away from the Soul dueling stage, but a thin layer of frost had already appeared on the stage and was growing thicker by the second. One could only imagine how much stronger the Ice Phoenix would be if it were to go all out. The younger generation will surpass us in time. The Holy Dragon Doluan nodded as he sensed the power of the Ice Phoenix in the air. He increased the amount of soul power he was using to ensure that the frost and explosion wouldn't affect the audience. At the same time, he was also watching Wang Kai silently. If Wang Kai showed any signs of weakness, the Holy Dragon Dolua would concede and protect him from any harm. Even as the Ice Phoenix descended, Wang Kai didn't stop what he was doing. Shura's Monarch Armor. Wang Kai's fourth soul ring flickered as he crazily circulated his soul power. Streaks of blood-colored azure baleful aura crazily gathered around Wang Kai's body. Soon after, a set of extremely mighty blood-red armor appeared on the surface of Wang Kai's body and quickly took shape. Not only that, but 3 blood-red shields of light also appeared around the Shura's Monarch armor. They slowly revolved around Wang Kai's body, and they sparkled under the sunlight. As Shura's Monarch armor took shape, Wang Kai's aura increased once again. His strength, defense, and speed were all boosted by 30%. Chapter 236. Shura's Demonic Flames. After activating Shura's Monarch armor, Wang Kai's attributes increased by another level. The surrounding ice energy was also isolated outside of the 3 rotating light shield. Immediately after, Wang Kai whispered, and the 6th soul ring behind him suddenly flashed. With the activation of the soul skill, Wang Kai's body began to flicker with a layer of faint purple light. In the next moment, the purplish-black Shura's demonic flames also burned fiercely outside of Shura's scales, emitting endless heat. And his aura also skyrocketed with the appearance of Shura's demonic flames. After the appearance of Shura's demonic flames, Wang Kai's strength and speed increased by nearly 20%. At the same time, the cold energy within 10 meters of him was completely purified. As soon as it got close to Wang Kai, it was completely destroyed by the high temperature of Shura's demonic flames. So powerful! Is this the true strength of the martial spirit hall's holy son? He's so strong. But it's still not enough to block the Ice Phoenix's attack, right? Feeling Wang Kai's aura, the audience below the stage was surprised again. If they didn't know the ranks of the people on the stage, it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that this was a battle between 2 senior soul sages. Come, Limitless Blood Fiend's spear technique. At this time, Wang Kai naturally didn't care about the audience's surprise and discussion. Instead, he poured all his attention into the Shura's dragon-killing spear in his hand. Facing the arrogant Ice Phoenix that was unleashed by Shui Yu-er and Shui Bing-er, even a powerful soul master like Wang Kai had no choice but to concentrate and go all out. When he was fighting with the ice snow drifting snow earlier, Wang Kai had already used the Limitless Blood Fiend spear technique and accumulated a huge amount of spear power. This was reserved for Shui Yu-er and Shui Bing-er's arrogant Ice Phoenix. Of course, Wang Kai only used the modified 49 forms of the spear art. He didn't use the more powerful version of the 64 forms. As for the latter, Wang Kai was prepared to leave it for Tang San. To deal with this Ice Phoenix, the power of the 49 spears combined into one was enough. Accumulating power, shooting, thick blood-colored spear shadows shot towards the Ice Phoenix that was constantly descending from the sky. And Wang Kai's spear power was getting stronger and stronger. The spear images were a combination of Wang Kai's soul force, blood essence, spirit, and Azura aura. Each spear was as powerful as a mid-stage Soul Emperor or even a high-stage Soul Emperor's attack. When the spear images reached the Ice Phoenix, they exploded into a mist of blood and began to drain away the Ice Phoenix's soul force. 41 spear strike, 42-48 spears. Wang Kai shot his spear again and again. At this time, the Ice Phoenix was already less than 15 meters away from the stage. Due to the interference of the everlasting Blood Fiend's spear, the energy within the Ice Phoenix's body didn't gather. However, as the Ice Phoenix drew closer, the cold energy that Wang Kai had to endure became more and more terrifying. Even though he was imbued with the Azura demonic flames, he felt as if his blood essence and soul power had become slightly stagnant. 49 spears. Explode for me. But at this time, Wang Kai's limitless Blood Fiend spear technique had finally reached the most crucial 49th spear strike. Following Wang Kai's low roar, the 49 spear shadows condensed into Wang Kai's spear. He aimed it at the Ice Phoenix in the sky and shot it out like a dragon. Following Wang Kai's attack, the 49 spear shadows condensed into one. Wang Kai's essence, energy, and spirit also converged into one. A blood-red dragon with a diameter of 2 meters and a width of over 20 meters shot out from the tip of Shura's dragon-slaying spear. Riding on a boundless and terrifying power, it crossed space and shot towards the Ice Phoenix. Self-created soul skill. Heavens, it's actually a self-created soul skill. As expected of the Holy Son of the Martial Soul Hall. To be able to create such a terrifying self-created soul skill at such a young age, his future is limitless. Seeing this attack, almost all of the soul masters present were shocked. Tang San and Shrek's 7 monsters also revealed serious expressions after seeing Wang Kai's true strength. In the face of such a terrifying opponent, their hearts began to waver slightly. Just as everyone was sighing, the blood-red dragon collided with the Ice Phoenix in the sky above the soul dueling stage, and a terrifying explosion ensued. In an instant, the blood-red Shura's baleful aura and the blue power of ice frantically spread in all directions. The entire soul dueling stage was enveloped by Shura's baleful aura and power of ice, and the terrifying shockwaves from the explosion slammed into the soul power barrier that the Holy Dragon Dolua had set up around the soul dueling stage. Ripples began to appear on the Holy Dragon Dolua's soul power barrier, and it even began to show signs of shattering. Many of the soul masters present paled at the sight of this, and some of the more cowardly nobles even stood up in an attempt to flee. They were afraid that they would be swept up in the terrifying shockwave. At this moment, the soul dueling stage in the center of the great soul dueling arena was completely sealed in ice. A layer of blue light instantly covered the entire stage, and some parts of it even caved in and shattered. Even the soul dueling stage, which had been reinforced and could withstand an all-out attack from an early-stage soul sage, was partially destroyed by the explosion. From this, one could see just how powerful the two soul skills were. However, at the center of the frozen soul dueling stage, a young man holding a blood-red spear stood with his head held high. His expression didn't change, and his heart didn't beat faster. He didn't show any signs of injury or soul power exhaustion. Although the consumption of the limitless Blood Fiend spear art was not low, Wang Kai was a man who had 3 god martial spirits supporting him. How could such a consumption of soul power cause him to fall into a state of exhaustion? Furthermore, Wang Kai also had the power of the earth and the body of yin and yang. Even if he ran out of soul power, he could replenish it in less than a minute. However, in the air, Shui Bing and Shui Yu's condition wasn't as good as Wang Kai's. 2 aqua-blue figures quickly fell from the sky to the ground. After using the disdainful Ice Phoenix soul skill, both Shui Bing and Shui Yu's soul power had been overdrawn. In addition, the disdainful Ice Phoenix soul skill contained a trace of their origin power. After Wang Kai destroyed the Ice Phoenix soul skill, they also suffered a backlash. They didn't have the ability to continue controlling their bodies. Good chance. Seeing the two falling from the sky, Wang Kai's eyes revealed a trace of joy. Wasn't this the best time to be a hero and save the damsel in distress? With a thought, Wang Kai removed Shura's possession, Shura's armor, and Shura's demonic flames. Then, with a light tap of his foot, he arrived below Shui Bing-er and Shui Yu. He stretched out his hands and gently hugged them before slowly landing on the ground. Thank you, Your Highness Wang Kai. Although they lost the match, but being held in the arms of the man they adore, Shui Bing-er and Shui Yu were only felt a kind of supreme happiness appear in his arms. Their hearts were like little fawns jumping around, and the two pairs of beautiful faces suddenly turned red. Chapter 237. It's nothing. This is what I should do. By the way, are the two of you all right? Judging from your complexions, you don't look too well. Wang Kai couldn't help but take a few deep breaths as he smelled the two women's fragrances. Then, he looked at the two women with a concerned expression as he asked considerately. Yes, Your Highness Wang Kai, we're fine. We just overdraft our soul power. We'll be fine after some rest. However, please put us down first. Listening to Wang Kai's greeting, Shui Bing-er and Shui Yu-er's hearts were touched. However, being hugged in the arms of a man in public, they were a little shy, so they opened their mouths to ask. Yes, Miss Bing-er and Yu-er. By the way, I'd like to invite the two of you out for dinner tonight. What do you think? Wang Kai asked softly as he gently placed the two girls back on the ground. We'd love to. Hearing Wang Kai's question, Shui Bing-er and Shui Yu felt a surge of happiness in their hearts. They quickly agreed. The first match of the first day has ended. The Martial Soul Hall team has won 1 point. The Skywater Academy team has lost 0 points. Seeing that the match had ended, the referee looked at the 3 remaining team members in awe and announced loudly. At this moment, the Holy Dragon Dolor removed the soul power barrier protecting the soul dueling stage. After Wang Kai, Shui Bing-er, and Shui Yu left the soul dueling stage, the Holy Dragon Dolor circulated his soul power. In the next moment, the Holy Dragon Dolor's soul ring flashed behind him, and a dazzling holy light descended from the sky and melted all the ice on the soul dueling stage. Very quickly, a few staff members came up to repair the soul dueling stage. An hour later, the soul dueling stage was restored to its original state, and the match resumed. Wang Kai watched the match absent-mindedly. In his heart, he was thinking about how to interact with Shui Bing-er and Shui Yu. That evening, in the largest hotel in the outer city of Martial Soul Saint City, the Profound Feather Pavilion. Good evening, Miss Bing-er, Miss Yu. Looking at Shui Bing-er and Shui Yu who arrived as promised, Wang Kai also revealed a bright smile, then happily greeted them. Good evening, Your Highness Wang Kai. Bing-er is a little curious. Does Your Highness Wang Kai have any special intentions for inviting us sisters out tonight? While greeting Wang Kai, Shui Bing-er, who was smart enough to ask Wang Kai. Of course, but let's eat first. Waiter, serve the dishes. Following Wang Kai's words, several waiters served up several delicacies that had already been prepared. They were colorful and fragrant, making one's mouth water. Not only were the dishes delicious, but they were also made with ingredients from 10,000-year soul beasts or 1,000-year soul beasts. Once eaten, a soul cultivator's body would benefit greatly. It could replenish their elemental energy and speed up their cultivation. Every dish cost several hundred or even several thousand gold soul coins to buy, and every dish was the best dish in the Profound Feather Pavilion. Your Highness Wang Kai, this is too extravagant. Looking at the dishes on the table, Shui Yu exclaimed in surprise. According to her estimations, this meal would cost several tens of thousands of gold soul coins. To her and her sister, this was an unimaginable amount of money. On the Doloa continent, a soul cultivator could receive 1 gold soul coin a month from the Martial Soul Hall, 10 for a soul grandmaster, and 100 for a soul elder. However, Soul cultivators above the soul ancestor level did not have the qualifications to continue to receive this subsidy. They had to join the two empires or serve the martial soul hall. To Shui Yu'er and Shui Bing'er, they were still studying in the academy and had not joined any power. Therefore, their money came from the academy's subsidy and the income from doing missions. They could only earn several thousand gold soul coins a month, but this meal was equivalent to half a year's income. It was extravagant. At the same time, Shui Yu'er and Shui Bing are also needed to cultivate. Although the academy covered a large portion of their cultivation expenses, they still needed to spend a lot of gold soul coins to purchase better cultivation resources. Therefore, they had less than 5,000 gold soul coins saved up. Wang Kai's extravagance made them worship him even more. Come, let's eat together. No need to be polite. It just so happens that you've exhausted some of your elemental energy in today's battle. Eat well to replenish your energy. Don't leave any side effects. Wang Kai said straightforwardly as he picked up his chopsticks. Okay, then I'll start too. Hearing Wang Kai's words, Shui Yu'er immediately picked up her chopsticks and began to eat heartily. Your Highness Wang Kai, thank you for your hospitality. It would be impolite of us to refuse. Shui Bing'er looked at Shui Yu'er with some blame. However, seeing her happy appearance, she couldn't say anything. She thanked Wang Kai and then picked up her chopsticks to eat. To Shui Bing'er and Shui Yu'er, food made from 10,000-year soul beasts was very precious. They had only tasted it a few times. After all, although the dean of the Skywater Academy was a soul Doluo, the Skywater Academy's power was many times weaker than the martial soul hall. Therefore, although Shui Bing'er and Shui Yu'er were the chief disciples of the Skywater Academy, they could only enjoy food made from 1,000-year soul beasts for their daily meals. Therefore, they didn't care about their ladylike image in front of these delicacies and ate heartily. After eating and drinking to their heart's content, Shui Bing'er and Shui Yu'er revealed grateful expressions and thanked Wang Kai happily. At this moment, Wang Kai smiled and spoke of his purpose for inviting the two girls out. Miss Bing'er, Miss Yu'er, I feel that the strength you two displayed today was very good. I admire your strength very much. As the Holy Son of the Martial Soul Hall, I hope to recruit the two of you as members of my Holy Son's personal guard. I know that with your strength, you will definitely be able to enter the finals. According to the Snowy Night Emperor's promise, once you choose to join the Heaven Do Empire, you will be able to become a Count or Viscount of the Heaven Do Empire. As the Holy Son of the Martial Soul Hall, I don't have the ability to give you titles and fiefs for the time being. However, I can guarantee that as a member of the Holy Son's personal guard, the living conditions you will enjoy will definitely not be worse than if you join the Heaven Do Empire. Not only that, the cultivation resources you will receive will far exceed that of the Heaven Do Empire. Furthermore, the Martial Soul Hall will be responsible for your soul rings in the future. I guarantee that you will have a perfect promotion. At the same time, I also admire your appearance very much. If you choose to join the Martial Soul Hall and become a member of the Holy Son's personal guard, we can have better contact and even develop a relationship that surpasses friendship. So, what do you think? Chapter 238. Well, then I thank Your Highness Wang Kai for your kind intentions. Of course, I'm willing to join Your Highness' personal guard. Sister Yu'er, what about you? Hearing Wang Kai's question, Shui Bing'er's face couldn't help but reveal a trace of joy. She quickly agreed and then looked at Shui Yu'er beside her. Of course, I'm also willing to join Your Highness Wang Kai's personal guard. Furthermore, I'm very willing to develop a relationship with Your Highness Wang Kai that surpasses friendship. Compared to Shui Bing'er, Shui Yu'er was younger, but her thoughts were more open and proactive. Hearing Shui Bing'er's question, Shui Yu'er looked at Wang Kai with admiration and answered softly. Very good, Miss Bing'er Yu'er, I believe this will be the best choice you've made in your lives. I will definitely not treat you unfairly, and you will definitely not regret your choice in the future. By the way, when can you report to the martial soul sacred city? Seeing Shui Bing-er and Shui Yuer's actions, Wang Kai nodded in satisfaction and then continued to ask. Your Highness Wang Kai, actually, we've reached the age where we can graduate. The main reason we've been staying in the Skywater Academy is to represent the Academy in this Soul Master Tournament. Now, since Your Highness Wang Kai is willing to let us join your personal guard, then after the tournament is over, we'll apply to graduate from the Academy and then come to the Martial Soul Sacred City to look for you. Hearing Wang Kai's question, Shui Bing-er smiled and answered. Well, then I'm looking forward to your arrival. This token is for you. After you graduate, you can bring it to the Martial Soul Sacred City to look for me at the Green Xian Hall. Of course, if you have any trouble during this period of time, you can also take this token to the nearby Martial Soul Branch Hall or Martial Soul Branch Hall and ask for the help of our Martial Soul Hall's Soul Masters. Wang Kai said with a smile as he took out a golden token from his spatial ring and handed it to the sisters. Thank you, Holy Son. It would be impolite for me to refuse. Taking the token from Wang Kai's hand, she thanked him again. Your Highness Wang Kai, was that your spatial soul tool? At this time, Shui Yuer, who was beside Shui Bing-er, also looked curiously at the token that appeared out of thin air in Wang Kai's hand. That's right, Yuer, you're really smart. Wang Kai smiled faintly as he looked at Shui Yuer. After that, he continued to explain, You're right. This is a spatial soul tool. Furthermore, if you like it, I can reward you and your sister with a spatial soul tool that's 10 cubic meters in size when you become soul sages. Really? After hearing Wang Kai's promise, Shui Yuer's tone suddenly became excited. She stared at Wang Kai and asked expectantly, Of course. Don't tell me you don't trust my credibility? Wang Kai answered confidently. Even though soul tool technology still existed on the Dolua continent, the forging techniques for high-grade soul tools like spatial soul tools had already been lost. The remaining soul tools were basically passed down from ancient times or treasures that had been excavated from ancient ruins. Not to mention soul sages, even titled Dolua might not necessarily possess a spatial soul tool. It was no wonder that Shui Yuer was so excited. However, to Wang Kai, a spatial soul tool with a space of 10 cubic meters was only worth 100,000 points, which was 10 origin points. Right now, Wang Kai already had more than 1,000 origin points. Spending 20 points to gain the favor of Shui Bing-er and Shui Yuer was such a good deal. Of course not. How can I not trust your Highness Wang Kai? It's just that spatial soul tools are too rare, and I'm a little too excited. After hearing Wang Kai's question, Shui Yuer hurriedly tried to explain herself. Space-type soul tools aren't that rare to me. In fact, I can even give you soul bones as long as you work hard. Seeing Shui Yuer's anxious expression, Wang Kai smiled faintly again. After that, he threw out another piece of important news. What, Your Highness Wang Kai, did I hear wrongly? Did you just say soul bones? At this moment, even Shui Bing-er couldn't remain calm and asked anxiously. If it was a spatial soul tool, it was just a dispensable auxiliary treasure to soul masters. Although it was attractive to Shui Bing-er, who was more mature, it wasn't enough to make her lose her composure like this. However, a soul bone was different. To any soul cultivator, a soul bone was the most precious and useful treasure. Even if it was the most ordinary 1,000-year soul bone, it could still increase a soul master's soul power purity, total soul power, physique, and potential. It was a treasure that every soul master pursued. How could Shui Bing-er not be excited when she heard that she had the chance to obtain a soul bone? One had to know that unless one was lucky or was a core member of a large organization, even 2 or more soul Dolua might not be able to obtain a soul bone. Just like in Skywater Academy, only the soul Dolua who was the dean had a 1,000-year soul bone. Yes, you didn't hear wrongly. What I said just now was a soul bone. Looking at the shocked Shui Bing-er and Shui Yuer, Wang Kai smiled and nodded again, repeating his words. To Wang Kai, after killing Dugubo, he had already found 3 soul bones from Dugubo's corpse. The price of 1,000-year soul bone was only a few tens of thousands of points in the system store, which was just a few origin points. Therefore, soul bones were very precious treasures to soul masters on the Dolua continent. To Wang Kai, soul bones were just a commodity that could be casually exchanged, although it required a certain amount of points. However, unlike spatial soul tools, soul bones are more precious. Therefore, even if you choose to join my personal guards, I won't give you soul bones directly. You will need to make a certain amount of contributions. However, these contributions are only required for outsiders. If it's my family, it's naturally different. If you are willing to marry me and become a member of my big family, then I will definitely prepare suitable soul bones for you in the future. Of course, you don't have to force yourselves. If you don't want to join my big family, then it's fine. We can maintain a close relationship as friends. When you have made enough contributions, I will definitely not be stingy with my rewards. What do you think? Although soul bones were very ordinary to Wang Kai, they were very precious to soul masters. Wang Kai naturally wouldn't simply give the soul bones to Shui Bing-er and Shui Yuer. Using the soul bones to win their hearts was the best use. Chapter 239. Your Highness Wang Kai, in fact, even if you didn't give me the soul bone, I would still be very willing to join your big family. This is because you really likes Your Highness Wang Kai from the bottom of her heart. Sister, what about you? Didn't you say that you like Your Highness Wang Kai before? After hearing Wang Kai's words, Shui Yuer first softly answered Wang Kai's question before smiling at Shui Bing. Sister, what are you talking about? When did I say that I like Your Highness Wang Kai? Seeing that Shui Yuer had exposed her thoughts, Shui Bing-er's pretty face turned red, but she subconsciously denied it. Sister, don't be shy. Your Highness Wang Kai, sister's personality is like this. However, she definitely wants to receive your love and care. At this moment, Shui Yuer didn't let Shui Bing-er off and continued to stab her. Yes, Yuer, thank you for your reminder. Of course, I can tell. Bing-er, I love you. Wang Kai looked at Shui Bing-er's beautiful sapphire-like eyes with a doting expression and spoke his mind. Facing such a pair of beautiful and cute sisters like Shui Bing-er and Shui Yuer, he would be lying to himself if he said that he didn't like them. If he was a devoted person, he might have reluctantly rejected Shui Bing-er and Shui Yuer's love. However, Wang Kai was different. As a broad-minded person who loved everyone, Wang Kai's strategy for such matters was very simple and crude. I want them all. Yes, Your Highness Wang Kai. In fact, sister is right. I also hope to be with you. Are you willing to accept us, Your Highness Wang Kai? After hearing Wang Kai's confession, Shui Bing-er finally broke the barriers in her heart and boldly spoke her true feelings for Wang Kai. Of course. Bing-er, welcome to my big family. After speaking, Wang Kai took a step forward and kissed Shui Bing-er's cheek lightly. Your Highness Wang Kai, I want one too. Looking at the reward that Wang Kai gave to her, Shui Yuer's eyes also revealed a look of desire. She then raised her head and looked at Wang Kai eagerly. Of course. Yuer, come, this is my reward for you. After saying that, Wang Kai also leaned down and kissed Shui Yuer's white cheek. Right, Bing-er, Yuer, it's still early today. Do you want me to bring you to see your future sisters? After dinner, it was only 7 p.m. Seeing that it was still early, Wang Kai continued to send out invitations. Of course. However, we might not be able to spend the night at your place because there are competitions waiting for us every day. Hearing Wang Kai's words, Shui Bing-er and Shui Yuer's faces were full of expectation. For such an outstanding man like His Highness Wang Kai, how outstanding would the women around him be? Would they have the qualifications to be recognized by them and officially become a member of His Highness Wang Kai's big family? Shui Bing and Shui Yu were both full of anticipation and apprehension. It's all right, don't be nervous. Your 4 sisters are very approachable and good ladies. You will definitely be able to get along well with them. Let's go. Wang Kai seemed to have noticed Shui Bing and Shui Yu's nervousness. He gently stroked Shui Bing and Shui Yu's silky blue hair to comfort them. Then, he held Shui Bing's wrist with his left hand and Shui Yu's jade-like arm with his right hand. After paying for the meal, they walked towards the Green Xian Hall under the envious gazes of others. Shui Yi Ling, Qingli, come. I have brought 2 new sisters for you today. After returning to the Green Xian Hall, Wang Kai called the 4 ladies into the main hall with a smile and said to them, "Big brother Wang Kai, did you find a new sister for us? That's amazing." "That's right, are they our new sisters?" Chihiro Snow revealed a beautiful and sweet smile as she sized up Shui Bing and Shui Yu. She then raised her head and asked Wang Kai, "Of course. Come, let me introduce your new sisters to everyone." After nodding his head and answering Chihiro Snow's question, Wang Kai then introduced Shui Bing and Shui Yu to everyone. "Your new sisters are a team of flower soul masters from the Skywater Academy. The one on the right is a little cold and has the temperament of an ice goddess. She is the elder sister, Shui Bing. The one on the left is quiet and cute, and her temperament is also more lively. She is the younger sister, Shui Yu. Their strength is also not bad. Bing is a soul king at rank 51, and Yu is a soul ancestor at rank 47. Their martial souls are both top-notch ice-type martial souls, the Ice Phoenix. Not only that, but I also want to tell everyone a little secret. As sisters, Bing and Yu can use martial soul fusion skills. Furthermore, their martial soul fusion skills are very powerful. They can even threaten soul sages. Of course, I also want to say one more thing. Don't belittle yourselves. They are a little older than you, so if you only look at your talent is actually not inferior to Bing and Yu's. While smiling at Chihiro Snow and the other 3 girls, Wang Kai also introduced Shui Bing and Shui Yu to everyone in detail. Threatened soul sages? Sister Bing and Sister Yu are really amazing. Looking at Shui Bing and Shui Yu, Dai Qingli couldn't help but praise them. Although she and Zhu Yiling could also use martial soul fusion skills, they were only soul ancestors. Therefore, even if they used martial soul fusion skills, Dai Qingli and Zhu Yiling could barely fight against the most ordinary mid-stage soul emperors. After hearing about Shui Bing and Shui Yu's strength, Chihiro Snow and the other 3 girls basically accepted them. Because of Wang Kai's strong physique and endurance, as members of Wang Kai's big family, Chihiro Snow and the others never objected to Wang Kai taking in more outstanding girls as his sisters. On the contrary, they were very welcoming of new sisters. However, Chihiro Snow, Zhu Yiling, Dai Qingli, and Ning Yuxian were also very prideful girls. Although they were very willing to have more sisters to help them share the pressure, they definitely wouldn't allow those vases or ordinary girls to join Wang Kai's big family. It was clear that although Shui Bing and Shui Yu's appearances were slightly inferior to the 4 girls, they were still far above the standards of the 4 girls. At the same time, their talent and strength were also recognized by everyone. Therefore, they didn't have the slightest bit of unwillingness or objection to the addition of Shui Bing and Shui Yu. Hello, little sister Bing and little sister Yu. Welcome to join us and become a member of His Highness Wang Kai's big family. Looking at Shui Bing and Shui Yu with a satisfied expression, Chihiro Snow took a step forward as the mistress of the house. She gave a friendly smile and then extended her hands to represent her acknowledgement and welcome. Chapter 240. Thank you, sister. However, how should we address you? Seeing that Chihiro Snow and the other 3 beauties had accepted them so quickly, the nervousness in Shui Bing and Shui Yu's hearts had completely dissipated. They then politely asked for Chihiro Snow's name. Sister Bing Sister Yu I am Wang Kai's official wife, Chihiro Snow. The three of them are Wang Kai's wives, Ning Yuxian, Dai Qingli and Zhu Yiling. While introducing herself to the sisters, Chihiro Snow then turned around to introduce Zhu Yiling and the other three beauties to the sisters. Sister Yuxian, Sister Qingli, Sister Yiling, hello. After greeting Qianrenxue, Shui Bing and Shui Bing also took the initiative to introduce themselves to Ning Yuxian and the other two girls. Sister Bing Sister Yu I hope that everyone can get along well in the future. Seeing that everyone had finished greeting each other, Chihiro Snow once again stepped forward to express her goodwill. And, for sisters, thank you, please take care of me in the future. Hearing Chihiro Snow's blessings, the sisters hurriedly revealed a sweet smile and softly agreed. Since Chihiro Snow and the rest had already accepted the sisters, Wang Kai also heaved a sigh of relief. To any man, if his wives in a big family were to quarrel with each other and have a fire in the backyard, it would definitely be an unpleasant and even maddening matter. Fortunately, Chihiro Snow and the rest were well-educated, well-behaved and cute girls. They did not get jealous because of the sisters' arrival, nor did they bring any trouble to Wang Kai. Of course, Wang Kai also knew that the root of all this actually came from his powerful attack and endurance. He could perfectly satisfy the physical and spiritual needs and emptiness of Chihiro Snow and the rest. Facing such a powerful man like Wang Kai, Chihiro Snow and the rest also bore a lot of pressure. Therefore, not only did they not reject Wang Kai finding new sisters for them, but they were also very welcoming. As long as they were not the kind of people who were just there to make up the numbers, it was fine. Sister Bing and Sister Yu approximately when will you guys move into Green Xian Hall? When the time comes, we will be ready to welcome your arrival. At this time, Chihiro Snow also opened her mouth to ask again. Sister Jianxue, Yu and I are currently participating in the Continental Advanced Elite Academy tournament. After the tournament, we will apply to graduate and then join Green Xian Hall. Seeing Chihiro Snow's question, Shui Bing answered in detail. I understand. Then let us welcome little sister Yu and little sister Bing to join us. It's a little late now. If we stay for too long, there might be people gossiping. Little sister Bing and little sister Yu should hurry back. Revealing an intellectual smile, Chihiro Snow also carefully reminded them. Thank you for your concern, Sister Jianxue. We will take our leave first. Your Highness Wang Kai, sisters, we'll meet again. Sister Bing and Sister Yu see you later. I wish you all the best in the Soul Master Tournament. After bidding farewell to Wang Kai and the rest of the girls, Shui Bing and Shui Yu also left Green Xian Hall and walked towards the guest house where the Skywater Academy team was staying. Brother Wang Kai, you are really amazing. You actually found 2 new sisters for us. After the sisters left, Chihiro Snow leaned towards Wang Kai's ear and said with a trace of jealousy. Shui, isn't it good to have a few more sisters to help you? It's not like you don't know your husband's abilities, right? However, Shui Yiling and Qingli have all performed very well today. I will definitely reward you. With a mischievous smile on his face, Wang Kai went to his bedroom under the encirclement of Chihiro Snow and the other 3 beauties. After warming up, an extremely intense and exciting battle was about to begin. Putting aside the battle in the Green Xian Hall for the time being, on the other side, Shui Bing and Shui Yu had also returned to the hotel. As soon as they entered the room, Shui Wu and the other members of the Sky Water Academy team had already surrounded them. Sister Bing what did Prince Wang Kai talk to you about? Yes. Captain, you were gone for so long. What did you do? Sister Yu the captain is not willing to reveal. Can you tell us why Prince Wang Kai looked for you? Seeing Sister Shui Bing the rest of the Skywater Academy team members suddenly became gossipy and asked one thing after another. Shui Bing face couldn't help but become slightly hot. It's really nothing. We just had a meal together, and then Prince Wang Kai invited us to join the Martial Spirit Palace and become a member of his personal guard. Looking at the team members around her, Shui Bing couldn't just ignore them and could only tell them part of the truth. Sister Bing did you agree with him? At this time, Shui Wu also curiously asked again. Yes, we agreed. Anyway, this matter couldn't be concealed, so Shui Bing openly told the news to the other team members. Wow, the personal guard of the Martial Spirit Palace's holy son. Sister Bing Sister Yu you are so lucky. Yes. Prince Wang Kai is so handsome and talented. To be able to become his personal guard, I really envy you. By the way, do you think Prince Wang Kai also took a fancy to Bing and Yu? I think they are a good match. Hearing Shui Bing answer, the girls gossiped again, while Shui Bing and Shui Yu hid in the room, as if they were running away. On the morning of the second day, Wang Kai walked out of his bedroom in high spirits, and came to the bath to wash off the filth on his body. Qian Rinxue and the other 3 girls were powerlessly curled up on the large bed. The surface of their bodies was covered with the indescribable liquid that Wang Kai had left behind, and the corners of their eyes also faintly had traces of tears left behind. Obviously, even if the 4 of them worked together, they couldn't resist Wang Kai's terrifying attack power. In the end, they were defeated one by one. This was the fundamental reason why they didn't reject Wang Kai finding new sisters for them. After leaving the bath, Wang Kai also went to the Martial Spirit Holy City's Great Soul Arena again. Today was the 6th day of the promotion competition, and also the second last day of the promotion competition. After tomorrow's competition, the winner and loser groups would be completely determined, and the next step would be the qualification competition to determine the final 8 precious spots to participate in the finals. On this day, the enemy of the Martial Spirit Palace team was the Star Luo Empire's Qi Lan Academy. This team didn't have a Soul King expert, and was a proper team of roaming. Even if Wang Kai didn't fight, the Qi Lan Academy would be defeated in a minute. And then, the promotion competition came to the 7th day. Today, Wang Kai's opponent was the Star Luo Iron Blood team from the Star Luo Empire, and this was also the last battle of the Martial Spirit Palace team in the promotion competition. Chapter 241. The first match of the 7th day will be between Team 1 from Martial Spirit Hall and Team 1 from the Star Luo Empire. Now, let us welcome both teams onto the stage. Wang Kai led 6 members of Martial Spirit Hall onto the stage following the host's introduction. Opposite them, 7 members of the Star Luo Iron Blood Academy walked onto the stage. Just as its name suggested, the Star Luo Iron Blood Academy was an academy that nurtured soul masters who served the Star Luo Empire's military. As a result, the academy's resources were provided by the Star Luo Empire's military. Many of the teachers in the academy were powerful soul masters from the Star Luo Empire's military, and the academy's dean was a great general of the Star Luo Empire, a super powerful titled Dolu. Unlike most other academies, the Star Luo Iron Blood Academy was open to all talented commoners, and they were free of all tuition fees. Of course, if you wanted to enjoy this privilege, you had to bear the corresponding obligations. After graduating from the Star Luo Iron Blood Academy, they had to serve the Star Luo Empire's military for 10 years. Even so, many commoners still flocked to the Star Luo Iron Blood Academy because it was their best and only choice. As an academy that nurtured soul masters for the Star Luo Empire's military, the Star Luo Iron Blood Academy was known for its cruel training and strict rules. Furthermore, unlike other soul master academies, the soul masters of the Star Luo Iron Blood Academy had to leave the academy every year to carry out missions with the Star Luo Empire's military, such as chasing away soul beasts or killing bandits. Because of this, the students of the Star Luo Iron Blood Academy were all battle-hardened soul masters. Their actual fighting strength was much stronger than normal soul masters from other academies, and their teamwork was also very good. Not only that, but every student of the Star Luo Iron Blood Academy was swift and decisive, and their bodies were filled with killing intent. Other than that, the students of the Star Luo Iron Blood Academy were also very strong. They had 3 Soul Kings, and were ranked in the top 5 of all the participating teams. Their captain was a rank 53 Soul King, and his strength was one of the best in this amazing tournament. Because of this, even though this team didn't have any martial soul fusion skills, the 7 of them working together were definitely enough to fight against an ordinary high-level Soul Emperor. They were a very strong team. Once they entered the finals, due to the existence of the individual competition, they wouldn't have to deliberately use their martial soul fusion skills. They even had the possibility of reaching the top 3 in the tournament. In the past 6 days, the Star Luo Iron Blood Academy had won 5 matches and lost 1. Only the Skywater Academy had defeated the Star Luo Iron Blood Academy with their powerful fusion skill. Even the Tsanghui Academy, who had a 7-person fusion skill, was no match for the Star Luo Iron Blood Academy. Even though the 7-person fusion technique was very powerful, how could the illusion created by the Tsanghui Academy students affect the Star Luo Iron Blood Academy students, who had gone through countless battles of life and death and had incomparably strong willpower? As a result, the 7 students from Star Luo Iron Blood Academy easily broke through the illusion and emerged victorious. And now, the Star Luo Iron Blood Academy's opponent was the Martial Spirit Hall team, the only team in Group 1 that had maintained an undefeated streak. If they could defeat the Martial Spirit Palace Academy, then they would also have 6 wins. Since the Martial Spirit Palace Academy had defeated the Skywater Academy before, according to the rules, they could directly advance as the winner of the winners group. Even though they knew that their chances of victory were slim, their eyes were filled with battle intent. Silence. Members of both teams, salute. Members of both teams, prepare to release your martial souls. Begin. Following the announcer's announcement, the battle began. The 7-star Luo Iron Blood Academy Soul Masters released their killing intent at almost the same time, then rushed towards Wang Kai. To catch bandits, first catch the ringleader. This was their strategy. As long as they could defeat Wang Kai, the Star Luo Iron Blood Academy members believed that they had a 90% chance of defeating the other members of the Martial Spirit Hall team. Even though the Martial Spirit Hall team's Soul Masters paused for a moment under the killing intent of the Star Luo Iron Blood Academy, Wang Kai, who possessed the martial soul of the Emperor Shura, wasn't the least bit intimidated by their killing intent. Seeing the 7-star Luo Iron Blood Academy Soul Masters rushing towards him, Wang Kai only smiled faintly. He swung Shura's dragon-slaying spear in the air and swept the 7-star Luo Iron Blood Academy Soul Masters away. At this moment, the Martial Spirit Hall team's Soul Masters finally reacted. Li Yueming buffed Wang Kai. Then Wang Kai took a step forward and charged towards the captain of the Star Luo Iron Blood Academy team. Following that, his spear shot out like a dragon. Limitless Blood Spear. Even though he didn't charge up his spear, Wang Kai's attack was still as powerful as a high-level Soul Emperor's all-out attack. Seeing Wang Kai charge towards him, the captain of the Star Luo Iron Blood Academy team brandished a blood-colored axe and activated his 5th soul skill. Following the flickering of his soul rings, the Soul Master unleashed a resplendent axe shadow. However, the axe shadow was instantly vaporized by the limitless blood spear. Following that, Wang Kai fiercely kicked the captain of the Star Luo Iron Blood Academy team off the stage. With the strongest member of the team eliminated, how could the rest of the team be a match for the Martial Spirit Hall team? In less than a minute, the remaining 6 people were all knocked off the stage. The Martial Spirit Hall team also secured a spot in the winners' bracket with 7 victories. Even though they weren't surprised by their victory in the qualifier, the Martial Spirit Hall team still happily high-fived each other when they heard the result. Hulaina even kissed Wang Kai a few times on his face, causing Evil Moon and Yen to cast jealous glances at Wang Kai. However, it was only jealousy. Whether it was Evil Moon or Yen, both of them had already acknowledged Wang Kai's strength in the past 6 months. Thus, even though Evil Moon's feelings for Hu Laina exceeded that of a sibling relationship, and Yen had always been secretly in love with Hu Laina, they both understood that being able to marry Wang Kai was Hu Laina's greatest fortune. As for them, it was enough for them to silently bless her from the side. On the other side, the Star Luo Iron Blood Academy team members were somewhat dejected, but it wasn't as if they didn't have a chance to enter the finals. Even though they could only advance as the losers bracket still had a chance to compete for a spot in the finals. This was something they had to do. Otherwise, they would be severely punished when they returned to the academy. The battles continued, and several hours later, the competition finally ended. After another round of overtime, the winner's bracket and the loser's bracket were decided. At this time, the Holy Dragon Doloa walked up to the podium with a smile on his face under everyone's gaze. Chapter 242. Contestants and audience, it can be said that everyone is very, very lucky to be able to personally witness this year's Soul Master Tournament. In this tournament, many Soul Master geniuses have emerged. This tournament is also more exciting than any of the previous ones. Even I am amazed by many of the battles. After 7 days of intense competition, we have now successfully decided on the 8 winners and losers group. Next, they will fight for the precious spot in the finals. Here, we would like to congratulate all the members of the winners group. Congratulations on emerging from the various group. Furthermore, you are only 1 step away from entering the finals. Of course, you can't relax now, because if you don't perform well in the qualifying round, your spot in the finals may still be taken away by the losers group. Here, we would also like to congratulate the losers group. Although your results may be slightly worse than the winners group, you have already proven your strength. At the same time, if you perform well in the qualifying round, you will also have a chance to enter the finals. As for those teams that have been eliminated and can't enter the qualifying round, you don't need to be discouraged. Being able to kill your way into the qualifying round from over 100 teams has already proven your strength and potential. You are also well-known figures among Soul Masters, and you also have a bright future ahead of you. Then, I will now announce the names of the winners and losers of each group. After that, we will draw lots for the groups of the winners and losers of the winners and losers of the qualifiers. As he spoke, the Holy Dragon Doloa took the scoreboard from the hands of a staff member beside him. Results of the first group. First place, Martial Spirit Hall Team 1. Record, 7 wins, 0 losses. Second place, Skywater Academy Team 1. Record, 6 wins, 1 loss. Third place, Star Luo Iron Blood Academy Team 1. Record, 5 wins, 2 losses. Fourth place, Songhui Academy Team 1. Record, 4 wins, 3 losses. Fifth place, Elephant Academy Team 1. Record, 3 wins, 4 losses. Sixth place, Qilon Academy Team 1. Record, 2 wins, 5 losses. Seventh place, Plant Academy Team 1. Record, 1 win, 6 losses. Eighth place, Purple Rainbow Academy Team 1. Record, 1 win, 0 losses. Winners Group, Martial Spirit Hall Team 1, Skywater Academy Team 1. Losers Group, Star Luo Iron Blood Academy, Songhui Academy Team 1. Results of the second group. Winners Group, Shrek Academy and Imperial Star Luo Academy Team 1. Losers Group, Blazing Fire Academy, Star Luo Imperial Academy Team 2. Results of the third group. Winner Group, Heaven Do Imperial Academy Team, Martial Spirit Palace Team 2. Loser Group, Team Thunder Academy, Team Steel Teeth. Results of the fourth group. Winners Group, God Wind Academy, Heavenly Shine Academy. Losers Group, Team Nightshade, Team Carmen. Winners Group. Team 1 from the Martial Soul Hall, Team 1 from the Skywater Academy, Team 1 from the Shrek Academy, Team 1 from the Imperial Star Luo Academy, Team 1 from the Heaven Do Imperial Academy, Team 2 from the Martial Soul Hall, Team 1 from the Divine Wind Academy, and Team 1 from the Heavenly Glory Academy. Losers Bracket Teams. Star Luo Iron Blood Academy Team, Songhui Academy Team, Blazing Fire Academy Team, Star Luo Royal Academy Team 2, Thunder Academy Team, Steel Teeth Academy Team, Nightshade Academy Team, and Carmen Academy Team. Now, let us give a warm round of applause to the captains of the qualified teams. I will represent the Martial Spirit Palace to present the prizes to all the qualified teams. After announcing all the qualified teams, the Holy Dragon Doluo invited all the qualified teams to the podium. Then, he shook hands with the captains of each team and gave them 5,000 gold soul coins as a reward. To a soul ancestor, 5,000 gold soul coins was a considerable amount of income. However, it wasn't enough for a soul king. However, these rewards were actually more about knowledge and honor. Once they joined the Martial Soul Hall or the two great empires, the benefits they would receive couldn't be measured with gold soul coins. After giving out the prizes to each team, the Holy Dragon Doluo left the podium. Afterwards, the host announced the start of the lot drawing process. The captains of each team went to the lottery box to draw their group balls. Several minutes later, the groupings were completed and the qualified teams for the first round were determined. In the winners group, Martial Spirit Palace Team 1 vs Star Luo Imperial Academy Team 1, Shrek Academy Team 1 vs Martial Spirit Palace Team 2, Heavenly Water Academy Team 1 vs Heavenly Shine Academy Team, God Wind Academy Team 1 vs Heaven Do Imperial Academy Team. In the losers group, Star Luo Iron Blood Academy Team 1 vs Thunder Academy Team, Star Luo Imperial Academy Team 2 vs Blazing Academy Team, Steel Teeth Academy Team 1 vs Songhui Academy Team, Carmen Academy Team 1 vs Duskflower Academy Team. After seeing the results of the groupings, each team was either happy or sad. They left the stage one by one to prepare for tomorrow's battle. In the blink of an eye, it was the morning of the next day. Compared to the qualifier round, the audience for the qualifier round was also a sea of people. Even though the ticket price for the qualifier round was twice that of the qualifier round, everyone was still flocking to it. After all, compared to the qualifier round, the qualifier round was much stronger and the competition was much more exciting. In the first round of the qualifier round, Martial Spirit Palace Team 1 vs Star Luo Imperial Academy Team 1. Following the announcer's enthusiastic voice, Wang Kai led the 6 members of Martial Spirit Palace onto the stage. Across from them, Davis, Zhu Zhuyun, and the other 5 members of Star Luo Imperial Academy Team 1 stepped onto the stage with a trace of bitterness. In Star Luo Imperial Academy Team 1, there was a rank 53 Soul King, Davis, and a rank 51 Soul King, Zhu Zhuyun, who could use a martial soul fusion skill. In addition, there was also a rank 51 Soul King with the 9 Soul Severing Spear. The other 4 were rank 49, rank 49, rank 47, and rank 45 respectively. With this kind of strength, coupled with their martial soul fusion skill, they were one of the best among all the participating teams. However, against Martial Spirit Palace and Wang Kai, they didn't have the slightest bit of confidence. After all, against Skywater Academy's martial soul fusion skill, Wang Kai was able to pierce through the terrifying Ice Phoenix with a single spear strike. He wasn't injured at all, nor was he exhausted. Although they were stronger than Skywater Academy's Shui Bing sisters, could they really withstand Wang Kai's ferocious might? Chapter 243. With this question in mind, all the spectators in the arena turned their attention to the 2 teams in the arena. They wanted to see which team would emerge victorious. Of all the teams present, the one that was paying the most attention to this match was none other than Shrek Academy's team. The Star Luo Imperial Academy's team was the strongest team apart from Shrek Academy's team and the Martial Soul Palace's team. If they wanted to force the Martial Soul Palace's team to use more tricks, they could only rely on this match. Silence. Both teams salute each other. Both teams prepare to release your martial souls. Begin. On the soul dueling arena, both teams saluted each other. Following the host's words, Zhu Zhuyun and Davis immediately held each other's arms tightly. Netherworld White Tiger. With a low shout from their mouths, their martial souls and bodies underwent mysterious changes at the same time. On the right, Davis's tiger roar suddenly became more ferocious. Accompanied by the ferocious tiger roar, Davis's body swelled again after unleashing his martial soul true body. His muscles swelled wildly, and white hair and black tiger stripes grew wildly from the surface of his body. On the left, Zhu Zhuyun's body was covered with a layer of faint black light. Her body also became illusory with the appearance of the black light. It looked like a transparent black fog drifting erratically. Then, it quietly drifted toward Davis. At this moment, Davis smiled slightly. His eyes shot out dazzling white light, and then he and Zhu Zhuyun's illusory and pitch-black bodies approached each other. In the next moment, the two figures, one black and one white, merged together. Just as the two figures merged into one, a huge black and white pillar of light with a diameter of 5 meters soared into the sky from where their bodies merged. A powerful shockwave spread out in all directions. Seeing this terrifying shockwave, the holy dragon Dolua had to stand up again and use his soul power to build a barrier to defend against the shockwave. Accompanied by the appearance of the bright pillar of light, an extremely terrifying tiger roar instantly resounded throughout the entire great soul dueling arena. Apart from the soul masters who were soul sages and above, almost everyone in the audience felt a sense of fear that originated from their very souls. Their hands couldn't help but stop moving for a moment. The black and white light pillar dissipated in the explosion, and at the same time, the figures of Davis and Zhu Zhuyun disappeared. However, at the spot where their bodies had merged, a huge white tiger with a body length of more than 10 meters and a height of about 3.5 meters appeared before everyone's eyes. However, unlike ordinary white tigers, the body of this white tiger on the field was slightly transparent. Its body was covered with white fur, and there were many pitch-black lines scattered among the white fur. This huge white tiger had a pair of purple eyes. It radiated with a powerful and terrifying pressure as it stared coldly at Wang Kai, who was holding Shura's Dragonslayer's spear. Compared to the netherworld white tiger in front of him, Wang Kai's body was undoubtedly extremely small. However, under the frightening pressure of the netherworld white tiger, Wang Kai didn't show a trace of fear. Instead, he raised his head indifferently and looked into the eyes of the netherworld white tiger, which was filled with ferocity. A few days ago, Wang Kai had fought against the Shui sisters' martial soul fusion skill. Although the Shui sisters' cultivation was only that of a soul king and a soul ancestor, the power of their martial soul fusion skill was at the level of an early-stage soul sage using their martial soul true body. The world-defying ice phoenix that they released at the end was even at the level of an all-out attack of a low-stage soul sage. This time, Davis and Zhu Zhuyun were much stronger than the Shui sisters. They were both soul kings. Therefore, the martial soul true bodies they used were definitely stronger than the Shui sisters. Although he didn't show any fear, Wang Kai's face revealed a trace of seriousness as he looked at the ferocious netherworld white tiger in front of him. If he was allowed to use 2 god martial souls, Wang Kai's strength would be comparable to a mid-stage soul sage. If Wang Kai was allowed to use all 3 god martial souls, Wang Kai's fighting strength would be comparable to a high-level soul sage, and he would be able to kill a mid-stage soul sage. However, this was the Soul Master Tournament after all. Wang Kai didn't dare to take the risk of using his other martial souls. However, even if he only relied on Emperor Shura's god martial soul, Wang Kai's body, soul power density, and soul power would be able to reach the level of an early-stage soul sage when he fused with the other god martial souls. Coupled with Wang Kai's frightening recovery ability, it wouldn't be a problem for him to defeat the Netherworld White Tiger. Therefore, he only revealed a trace of seriousness, and didn't show any fear or anxiety. "Captain, do you need me and my brother to use our martial soul fusion skill together? Or are you saying that you can deal with this Netherworld White Tiger alone without us?" At this moment, Hulaina once again leaned close to Wang Kai's ear and asked softly, "Don't worry, Nar. I alone am enough to defeat this Netherworld White Tiger. As for the rest of you, you'll be responsible for defeating the other members of the Star Luo Imperial Academy's team. As for your martial soul fusion skill, you can leave it for Shrek's team, who defeated the Star Luo Imperial Academy's team. They're our greatest enemy." After hearing Hulaina's question, Wang Kai revealed a confident smile and replied in a low voice, "Yes, I understand. Good luck, Captain." After hearing Wang Kai's instructions, Hulaina nodded her head. Ever since Shrek's team defeated the Star Luo Imperial Academy's team, Shrek's team had become the hot favorite to win the championship, second only to the Martial Soul Hall's team. Therefore, Hulaina didn't have any doubts about Wang Kai's decision to leave behind his trump card. As for Wang Kai, he naturally had his own considerations for doing so. Hulaina and Evilmoon's martial soul fusion skill was Bewitching Charm. This soul skill was coincidentally countered by Tang San's purple demon eyes. If they revealed it now, they would definitely be targeted by Tang San, and they wouldn't be able to use this soul fusion skill. On the contrary, if they didn't reveal Bewitching Charm now, they would only need Wang Kai to stop Tang San from using his purple demon eyes in the final battle against the Martial Soul Hall. Hulaina and Evilmoon's Bewitching Charm would be enough to defeat Zhu Zhuqing and Dai Mubai's Netherworld White Tiger. The other members of the Martial Soul Hall's team would also be strong enough to defeat Shrek's team, and he would be able to win easily. Of course, according to Tang San's character, if Shrek's team really went up against the Martial Soul Hall's team, they would most likely concentrate their firepower to kill Wang Kai. At this time, if Hulaina and Evilmoon used Bewitching Charm, they would definitely be able to deal a fatal blow to Shrek's 7 monsters. Chapter 244. Fight. Seeing the appearance of the Netherworld White Tiger, Wang Kai immediately activated his martial soul possession and Shura's monarch armor. Instantly, Wang Kai transformed into Shura and donned the majestic blood-red armor. Then, he raised his spear and charged at the Netherworld White Tiger. On the other side, the Netherworld White Tiger's eyes turned red when it saw Wang Kai charging at it with his spear. It raised its head and let out a terrifying roar. Then, it stomped on the ground and charged at Wang Kai. Just as the Nether White Tiger charged forward, a pair of enormous wings unfurled on its broad back, causing its already enormous body to move even faster, and the force of its charge was even more terrifying. One man and one tiger, just like that, met face to face in midair. At this time, the Netherworld White Tiger clawed at Wang Kai's chest. Ultimate Blood Spear Art. Although he was in midair, Wang Kai's movements were as smooth as ever. Gathering all the strength in his arms, he raised his spear and stabbed at the Netherworld White Tiger. Following a loud crash, a terrifying force came through. Wang Kai's Shura's dragon-slaying spear was bent, and his arms were numb. Then, he took 3 steps back, and his internal organs were slightly shaken. This was too satisfying. Although he was temporarily pushed back by the Netherworld White Tiger, Wang Kai's heart was filled with joy. His heartbeat began to accelerate. Ever since he killed the 10,000-year-old arachnid, Wang Kai had not experienced such a satisfying battle in a long time. The Netherworld White Tiger's attack seemed to have turned on the battle switch in Wang Kai's body. In an instant, Wang Kai's body was filled with a fierce battle intent. Again, Ultimate Blood Spear Art. Although Wang Kai's internal organs had suffered some damage from the Netherworld White Tiger's attack, His yin-yang body and Earth's force allowed him to recover from his injuries in less than half a second. Then, he leaped up once again, raised his spear, and charged towards the ferocious Netherworld White Tiger. Just as Wang Kai was pushed back, the Netherworld White Tiger was also attacked by Wang Kai. Under Wang Kai's attack, a long wound appeared on the Netherworld White Tiger's body. Blood flowed endlessly. The blood that flowed out stimulated the Netherworld White Tiger's bloodlust. Its eyes flashed fiercely as it charged at Wang Kai. This time, Wang Kai retreated a few steps, but the Netherworld White Tiger's spear claw had another long wound. "Suppress it for me." Just as he landed, Wang Kai had already adjusted his state of mind. Wang Kai once again stood up, and his spear gave off a terrifying blood-red light as it pierced towards the Netherworld White Tiger with an unstoppable aura. The Netherworld White Tiger also gave off a terrifying aura as it leapt towards Wang Kai and clawed at the Azura Dragon killing spear. As the spear and claw met, Wang Kai and the Netherworld White Tiger were instantly entangled in battle. The black and white Netherworld White Tiger's image collided with the blood-red Shura's image. Their speed was so fast that only soul sages could barely see the battle between Wang Kai and the Netherworld White Tiger. Of course, there was an exception among the spectators who could see the battle clearly, and that was Tang San. Although he was only a Soul King, he relied on his purple demon eyes to clearly see the movements of Wang Kai and the Netherworld White Tiger. Too strong. This was Tang San's only evaluation of Wang Kai. Although the Netherworld White Tiger formed by Davis and Zhu Zhuyun was defeated by the Netherworld White Tiger formed by Dai Mubai and Zhu Zhuqing, it was still a martial soul fusion skill executed by two Soul Kings. Tang San admitted that he was definitely not a match for any of the Netherworld White Tigers unless he used a hidden weapon. However, Wang Kai was able to fight to a draw with one of the Netherworld White Tigers. Wang Kai's strength was truly frightening. Furthermore, the Martial Spirit Hall's team hadn't displayed any strength apart from Wang Kai. But as the Martial Spirit Hall's team, how could the remaining members be ordinary? Tang San had a strong premonition that the Martial Spirit Hall's team was still hiding a huge killing move, and their target was Shrek's team. Can we really win? Seeing Wang Kai's invincible might, Tang San couldn't help but have doubts in his heart. If he could use a hidden weapon, Tang San believed that he had dozens of ways to defeat or even kill Wang Kai, who was only a Soul Emperor. However, this was a Soul Master tournament after all. Whether it was hidden weapons or some of the Tang sect's crafty techniques, they couldn't be used due to the rules. This gave Tang San an incomparable headache. Just as Tang San was secretly shocked, the situation on the stage had quietly changed. In the beginning, the Netherworld White Tigers' every pounce could cause Wang Kai to retreat a few steps. But after dozens of moves, Wang Kai was already able to fight to a draw with the Netherworld White Tiger. In terms of momentum, he was even slightly suppressing the Netherworld White Tiger. This is storing power? Looking at Wang Kai's everlasting blood spear technique, Tang San could faintly see the knack for it. He couldn't help but admire Wang Kai. Unfortunately, he was a member of the Martial Soul Hall. After experiencing the qualifiers, Tang San also learned about his father, Tang Hao, and his missing mother from Ningfengji. It was very clear that his father's depression and his mother's disappearance were related to the Martial Soul Hall that dominated the continent. After experiencing this incident, Wang Kai could no longer bring up any good feelings towards the Martial Soul Hall. He even started to hate them. Tang San wasn't wrong at all. After fighting with the Netherworld White Tiger for nearly a minute, Wang Kai's everlasting blood spear technique had already accumulated a huge amount of spear force. This caused Wang Kai's strength to increase by nearly 50% compared to the beginning. On the other side, maintaining the Netherworld White Tiger wasn't a simple matter for Davis and Zhu Zhuyun. The price to pay for unleashing the terrifying power of a martial soul fusion technique was an extremely terrifying consumption of soul power. After fighting with Wang Kai for so long, Davis and Zhu Zhuyun, had already consumed close to 60% of their soul power. At this time, the netherworld White Tiger's body started to turn illusory. Its strength and speed were also weakening bit by bit. Not only that, but Wang Kai's Shura's dragon-slaying spear had already pierced through the netherworld White Tiger's claws. The claws were several meters long, and they were bleeding non-stop. One could see the mangled flesh and blood, and they simply couldn't heal. The netherworld White Tiger's body was actually formed from Davis and Zhu Zhuyun's soul power. The netherworld White Tiger's bleeding increased the depletion of their soul power, making it very difficult for them to maintain their martial soul fusion technique. Because of this, Wang Kai's strength had already crushed the netherworld White Tiger. Furthermore, his strength was still increasing. On the other hand, the netherworld White Tiger's strength was constantly decreasing. Under this situation, perhaps after 10 more moves, Wang Kai would be able to crush the netherworld White Tiger with his own strength. We can't continue like this. Otherwise, we'll definitely lose if this continues. At this moment, Zhu Zhuyun's consciousness in the netherworld White Tiger communicated with Davis's consciousness. Chapter 245. That's right. I've already consumed more than 60% of my soul power. If this continues, we'll lose without a doubt. Let's use the netherworld White Tiger break together. Feeling Zhu Zhuyun's thoughts, Davis also conveyed his approval in his mind. Netherworld White Tiger break. Accompanied by a terrifying roar, the netherworld White Tiger's body instantly accelerated and turned into a strange black and white light arrow. It emitted a boundless and terrifying pressure as it swept towards Wang Kai. Good timing. Looking at the netherworld White Tiger break exploding towards him, Wang Kai's eyes revealed a trace of seriousness. Facing this attack that contained terrifying energy, he had to be careful. Limitless Blood Fiend Spear Art. Although the spear force hadn't accumulated to its peak, after Little Light's second modification, the Limitless Blood Fiend Spear Art didn't have to be circulated to the 49th or 64th form to erupt with its full power. With a thought, Wang Kai struck out with all the accumulated spear force in one go. Following Wang Kai's spear strike, all the spear force he had accumulated previously gathered together and transformed into an incomparably ferocious and terrifying blood-colored dragon that shot out from the tip of the spear. It carried a terrifying and peerless power as it met the netherworld White Tiger break in the distance. When the Limitless Blood Fiend Spear Art collided with the netherworld White Tiger break, the blood-colored fiendish aura and the alternating black and white power of the netherworld White Tiger instantly burst out in all directions. An incomparably violent shock wave spread out from the center of the explosion and crazily attacked the barrier set up by the Holy Dragon Doluo, causing ripples to appear. At the same time, in the area where the Limitless Blood Fiend Spear Art and the netherworld White Tiger break collided, the incomparably sturdy soul dueling stage caved in a terrifying pit. The ground split open in all directions, leaving behind sinister cracks. Even the spectators in the spectator stands felt their seats tremble, and small cracks even appeared on the ground near the soul dueling stage. The power of this attack was truly breathtaking. But who won and who lost? Looking at the thick smoke and dust that pervaded the soul dueling stage due to the explosion, except for a few extremely powerful soul masters and Tang San, almost all soul masters had the same question in their hearts. The power of your martial soul fusion skill is pretty good. Unfortunately, you met me, Wang Kai. While everyone was staring at the soul dueling stage, a handsome young man holding a crimson spear and clad in crimson armor strode out of the smoke and dust. Apart from his armor being stained with dust from the explosion, he didn't seem to be injured at all. See Wang Kai's team's team. Seeing Wang Kai walk out safely, a look of Wang Kai's their eyes revealed a look of joy and their eyes when they saw Wang's their eyes. Their gazes were also this writes Wang. The winner of the first match of the qualifying round is Team 1 of the Martial Spirit Palace. Seeing Wang Kai walk out of the smoke, the outcome of this battle was self-evident. The referee quickly announced the result of the match. At this time, the terrifying smoke and dust from the explosion had dissipated. On the ground, Davis and Zhu Zhuyun were lying on the ground with pale faces. Their auras were very weak, but fortunately their life auras were not too weak. In the battle with Wang Kai, they had forced out all of their potential and were somewhat exhausted. The holy dragon Doloa shook his head in exasperation at the sight of the ruined soul dueling stage. This batch of young soul masters really are freakishly talented. Not long after, many staff members returned to the stage and quickly repaired the soul battle platform. The competition resumed. The second round of the victors' bracket was between Shrek Academy and Martial Soul Hall's second team. Without a doubt, Shrek Academy's team easily defeated Martial Soul Hall's second team with 3 Soul Kings and a Martial Soul Fusion skill, obtaining victory. In the third match of the winners group, the Heavenly Water Academy defeated the Star Luo Empire's Heavenly Glory Academy to advance to the next round. And in the fourth match of the winners group, the God Wind Academy defeated the Heaven Do Imperial Family Academy's first team to advance to the next round. Then, it was the turn of the 8 teams in the losers group to compete. The first battle was between the Star Luo Iron Blood Academy and the Thunder Academy. The Star Luo Iron Blood Academy won. The second battle was between Blazing Academy's team and Star Luo Imperial Academy's second team. Blazing Academy won. The third battle was between the Star Luo Empire's Steel Teeth Academy and the Tsang Hui Academy. The Tsang Hui Academy won. The fourth match was between the Star Luo Empire's Carmen Academy and Long Kue Academy, and Long Kue Academy emerged victorious. After the 8 battles, the morning competition was officially over. After resting for an afternoon, the competition resumed. Compared to the morning competition, the afternoon competition wasn't as packed. There were only 4 matches in total. First was the battle between the 4 teams that lost in the morning. The Star Luo Imperial Family Academy defeated the Martial Spirit Hall's second team and advanced to the next round. The Heaven Do Imperial Family Academy defeated the Heavenly Glory Academy and advanced to the next round. The 2 teams that lost, the Martial Spirit Hall's second team and the Heavenly Glory Academy, had to compete with the top 2 teams in the losers group for the last 2 spots to advance to the next round. Next was the battle between the 4 teams that won in the losers group. Finally, the Star Luo Iron Blood Academy and the Blazing Academy defeated their opponents and became the top 2 teams in the losers group. They would compete with the Martial Spirit Hall's second team and the Heavenly Glory Academy for the last 2 spots to advance to the next round. Because these teams had already gone through 2 battles, and their soul masters didn't have a terrifying recovery ability like Wang Kai, the final competition would be held tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, and the morning after. Every team would fight in pairs, and the teams that would advance to the next round would be chosen after 6 rounds. At the same time, the opening ceremony for the finals would be held in front of the Martial Spirit Hall's Pope's Palace. After another day and a half of battles, the 6 matches ended. Finally, the Star Luo Iron Blood Academy advanced with 3 wins and 0 losses. The Blazing Academy advanced with 2 wins and 1 loss. The Martial Spirit Hall's second team and the Heavenly Glory Academy were eliminated from the losers group. At this point, the 8 teams that would advance to the next round were determined. They were the Martial Spirit Hall's first team, the Shrek Academy's team, the Skywater Academy's team, the Star Luo Imperial Family's team, the Star Luo Iron Blood Academy's team, the Blazing Academy's team, the God Wind Academy's team, the Heaven Do Imperial Family's team. After the teams that would advance to the next round were determined, the qualifying competition ended. The 8 teams were led by the Martial Spirit Hall's representatives to the new competition venue in front of the Pope's Palace. Chapter 246. Unlike the promotion and qualification rounds, the grand finals of the Soul Master Tournament didn't sell tickets to the general public. Only a small number of invited soul masters and the nobles of the two empires were allowed to spectate the competition in front of the pontiff's palace. Outsiders weren't allowed to spectate the competition, which added to the mysteriousness of the tournament. All the teams left the great soul dueling arena in the outer city along the wide roads in the martial soul sacred city. They rushed towards the pontiff's palace in the center of the city. The martial soul sacred city was hexagonal and was built around a mountain. The mountain in the center of the city was called the martial soul sacred mountain. There were 3 majestic buildings on the martial soul sacred mountain. One was at the top of the mountain, while the other 2 were at the middle of the mountain. Even the teams outside the city could see them. The building at the top of the mountain was the Dolua Palace that all soul masters dreamed of entering. It was as white as jade and had a tall dome. It was very majestic. It was where all the titled Dolua were crowned and given their titles. It was also where all the soul masters mourned after the death of a titled Dolu. It was a place of faith for all soul masters, and it was very solemn and dignified. The 2 buildings at the middle of the mountain were the Pontiff's Palace and the Elder's Palace. They were on the left and right, and they were both very majestic. The team's destination was the Pope's Palace on the right. There, all the teams that entered the finals would be able to meet the Martial Spirit Palace's Pope, Bibi Dong, and compete in the competition field in front of the Pope's Palace until the champion was decided. At that time, the Pope would present himself again and personally award the champion team. As the teams got closer to the martial soul sacred mountain, the Pontiff's Palace was gradually revealed to the teams. It was a pillar-like structure with a dome that was dozens of meters tall. It was more than 100 meters long and wide. The outside of the building was covered with a layer of golden material that shimmered under the sunlight. It was very majestic and imposing. Even the imperial palaces of the 2 empires weren't as majestic as the Pontiff's Palace. The Pontiff's Palace was surrounded by a sea of guardian knights. After a series of checks, the 8 teams that made it to the finals were finally allowed to approach the Pontiff's Palace. Of course, they were only allowed to go to the competition grounds about a kilometer away from the Pontiff's Palace. They couldn't go any closer to the Pontiff's Palace and wait for the opening ceremony of the Soul Master Tournament to begin. In order to welcome the finals of the Continental Advanced Soul Master Academy Elite Tournament, the Martial Soul Holy City had specially opened up a special arena not far from the Pontiff's Palace. This arena was located at the very center of the Martial Soul Holy City, and the enormous arena was completely built from solid iron. Its diameter was several hundred meters. Not only that, but many soul tools were also used to reinforce the enormous competition stage so that they wouldn't be damaged during the fight. Because soul sages had appeared in both the qualifying round and the promotion round, this arena had been specially reinforced. It could withstand multiple attacks from soul sages without being damaged. This way, it wouldn't affect the progress of the tournament. Only the Martial Soul Hall, which controlled most of the soul masters on the Dolua continent, could afford to build such an arena. At the very least, the 2 empires wouldn't be willing to spend so much resources to build such an arena. The majestic Pontiff's Palace was right in front of this arena. On the right side of the arena, there was a resting area specially built for each academy. The teams from each academy could rest and watch the competition from there. On the other 2 sides of the arena, there were invited soul masters and representatives from the 2 empires. Of course, there were also many internal members of the Martial Soul Hall. The various teams arrived one after another. After that, the guests who had come to participate in the opening ceremony of the finals all arrived at the arena. After about half an hour, the side door of the Pontiff's Palace slowly opened. As the side door opened, a group of soul masters in red robes walked out. There were a total of 12 of them. From their attire, it wasn't hard to tell that they were red-robed bishops of the Martial Soul Hall, second only to the consecrated, elders, and platinum bishops. Every single one of them was a powerful soul dolua. After they walked out of the Pontiff's Palace, They stood on either side of the main entrance of the pontiff's palace. There were 6 of them on each side. Seeing such a formation, it was obvious who was going to enter the arena next. Sure enough, after they stood still, the red-robed bishop at the front shouted, "His Holiness has arrived." This red-robed bishop's voice was very loud and clear, and it spread in all directions. "Long live the Holy Father! Long live the Holy Father! Long live the Holy Father!" Following the red-robed bishop's voice, 3 loud cheers rang out near the pontiff's palace like a tsunami. These cheers didn't just come from the paladins on the pontiff's mountain, but also from many soul masters in the martial soul holy city. The Martial Soul Hall was the organization that they had pledged their loyalty to and protected for their entire lives. As the leader of the Martial Soul Hall, the Holy Father was their greatest believer. Following the loud cheers, the main entrance of the pontiff's palace, which was 10 meters tall, slowly opened. The insignia on the 2 doors slowly left their track. As the doors creaked open, everyone couldn't help but stare in the direction that the doors opened. Even the members of the Martial Soul Hall and Shrek Academy's team felt their hearts beating faster and faster. Other than Wang Kai, who was the holy son of the Martial Soul Hall, even Hu Liena, Evil Moon, and Yen, who were part of the Martial Soul Hall's golden generation, had only seen Pope Bibidon once when they became Soul Kings and were awarded the Purple Record Medal. The other 7 members of the Martial Soul Hall's team had never seen this legendary Holy Father of the Martial Soul Hall before. Under everyone's gazes, Bibidon walked out of the pontiff's palace with a solemn expression on his face. Bibidon wore a dazzling golden dress. Her face was beautiful, and she wore a purple gold crown on her head. She held a scepter in her hand. Not only that, but Bibidon seemed to have an illusory feeling. She seemed to be infinitely tall and dignified, showing the majesty of the Martial Soul Hall's Holy Father. Bibidon's dazzling golden dress was very fitting. The dazzling dress flickered with precious light, and there were more than 100 red, blue, and gold gems on it. The purple gold crown on her head was even more dazzling, and all the light was focused on her at this moment. The moment Bibidon appeared, almost all the members of the Martial Soul Hall knelt on one knee and shouted in a deep voice, "Greetings, Your Holiness." Chapter 247. In that instant, the aura in the entire place was indescribable. Apart from those soul masters who had very strong willpower, most people couldn't help but feel like prostrating themselves in worship when they heard the cheers that were ringing out from all directions. There were 4 people standing behind Bibidon. 3 of them were wearing bright red ceremonial robes, while the last one was wearing a long white robe. Unlike the red-robed cardinal's ceremonial robes, these 3 soul masters' ceremonial robes were embroidered with gold and silver patterns. Embedded in their chests was a fist-sized gem that was flashing with golden light. It appeared extremely stylish and luxurious. If someone who didn't understand the Doloa continent saw these ceremonial robes, they would only think that they were very stylish. However, to any human on the Doloa continent, being able to wear such ceremonial robes was something that they could only dream of. It was also the greatest honor that anyone could receive in their lifetime. This was because only titled Doloa had the right to wear these ceremonial robes. Wang Kai had seen all 3 of them before. They were the Sword Doloa, the Ghost Doloa, and Chrysanthemum Doloa. The 2 titled Doloa closest to Bibidon were the Ghost Doloa and Chrysanthemum Doloa. The one to Bibidon's left was the Ghost Doloa. Although he was wearing a red robe, faint black gas continuously leaked out from his body. His entire body was covered in a layer of illusory spirit, and he seemed to shift as he walked. His face was also enshrouded in a cloud of mist, and no one could see his face clearly. The one to Bibidon's right was Chrysanthemum Doloa. He had orange hair, and his skin was as tender as a baby's. His appearance was also very seductive, and he gave off a special feeling. At first glance, Chrysanthemum Doloa seemed to be a beautiful woman. However, upon closer inspection, it wasn't difficult to see the Adam's apple on his neck. Clearly, this chrysanthemum Dolo was a man. As for his appearance, no one dared to talk about it in front of him. The sword Doloa and the white-robed man stood at the very back. As for the white-robed man, Wang Kai naturally recognized him as his father-in-law, the sect master of the Seven Treasures glazed sect, Ning Fengji. It was no wonder that sword Doloa Chen Xian would follow him. There were only 3 types of people who could walk out of the pontiff's palace: the pontiff, the titled Doloa, and the elders of the martial spirit hall. Obviously, Ning Fengji didn't belong to the first 2. However, as the sect leader of the Seven Treasures glazed sect, Ning Fengji was also an honorary elder of the martial spirit hall. That was why he was qualified to walk out of the pontiff's palace. The pontiff and the 4 people behind him didn't seem to be walking very quickly, but they were very fast. In just a few minutes, they arrived at the competition arena. Although there were no written rules, apart from the 7 members of Shrek Academy and Wang Kai, the rest of the team members knelt down on one knee. This was especially so for the members of the martial spirit hall. They looked at Bibidon with a fanatical look in their eyes, as if they were devout believers. The reason why Wang Kai didn't kneel was very simple. He was the holy son of the martial spirit hall. In terms of status, he was only half a rank lower than Bibidon. His master, Sendoryu, was the great consecrator of the martial spirit hall. Whether it was in terms of strength or control of the martial spirit hall, he was superior to Bibidon. Naturally, he didn't need to kneel to Bibidon. As for the 7 members of Shrek Academy, although they hadn't discussed this situation before, they made the same choice. For Dai Mubai and Zhu Zhuqing, one of them was a prince of the Star Luo Empire, while the other was the legitimate daughter of the Zhu family, the most powerful organization in the Star Luo Empire. They naturally wouldn't kneel to the martial spirit hall. As for Ning Rongrong, she was the apple of Ning Fengji's eye. With her status, she naturally wouldn't kneel to the pontiff of the martial spirit hall. As for Tang San, he had his own reasons for not kneeling to Bibidon. Firstly, it was because of his background in the Clear Sky sect and the Tang sect. Secondly, it was because of his pride. In Tang San's opinion, a man had gold under his knees. Other than his parents and teachers, he wouldn't kneel to anyone else, including the emperor and the pontiff. Ma Hongjuan's thoughts were similar to Tang San's. Not only that, Ma Hongjun, who possessed the evil phoenix, didn't feel any reverence for Bibidon. Instead, he harbored evil thoughts. As for Oscar, he also didn't care about the martial spirit hall. He only felt that the martial spirit hall was good for a short while when he received the gold soul coins from the martial spirit hall. The one with the most unique expression among Shrek's 7 monsters right now was undoubtedly Xiao Wu, who was wearing a pink dress and had a pair of bunnies. At this moment, Xiao Wu's head was lowered, and there was a special look of hatred and fear in her eyes. However, that expression only flashed for a moment before it was replaced by a kind of indifference. Shrek's 7 monsters' unique behavior undoubtedly attracted the attention of many people. Many soul masters from the martial spirit hall felt that their behavior was disrespectful to the pontiff, and thus they cast angry looks at them. However, Bibidon didn't reveal any anger in his eyes when he saw that Shrek's 7 monsters didn't half kneel to salute him. He only turned his head indifferently and swept his gaze across Shrek's 7 monsters. Eventually, his gaze stopped in front of Tang San. When Bibidon's gaze focused on Tang San felt as if his soul was about to be stripped from his body. His body couldn't help but tremble. After that, he involuntarily activated his purple demon eyes, and 2 purplish golden rays of light shot out from Tang San's eyes. "How dare you disrespect the pontiff?" When he saw this scene, a trace of anger appeared in the eyes of the red-robed bishop who had been shouting, "Long live the pontiff." "It's all right. I was too rude. Young man, you're able to resist my gaze at such a young age. I presume that you're Grandmaster's disciple, Tang San." At this moment, a faint smile appeared on Bibidon's face. Then, He stared at Tang San and asked. Seeing that Bibidon himself didn't care about this matter, the red-robed bishop immediately shut up. His face was full of reverence. Yes, Your Holiness. After hearing Wang Kai's question, Tang San couldn't help but be shocked. He didn't expect this extraordinarily beautiful pontiff in front of him to know him and his teacher. However, after hearing Bibidon's question, Tang San still answered in a neither servile nor overbearing manner. Not bad. Heroes come from young. You do have some of your teacher's strength of character back then. Bibidon nodded at Tang San, then retracted his gaze. After hearing Bibidon's words, Yu Shaojiang, who was sitting in the resting area, revealed a complicated expression in his eyes. There was regret, self-blame, and pain. After so many years, do you still remember me? Will you forgive me? Or was it, after hearing the conversation between Bibidon and Tang San, all the soul masters present were shocked. They didn't expect that after the pontiff appeared, the first person to speak to Tang San was actually her teacher. Moreover, she seemed to know Tang San's teacher. I'm just an insignificant talent. I really don't dare to compare with teacher. After hearing Bibidon's answer, Tang San didn't know what she was up to, so he could only answer in a straightforward manner. Rise. Bibidon didn't stay too long on Tang San. Then, he led the 4 people behind him to the center of the arena. He waved the scepter in his hand slightly and said indifferently. After hearing Bibidon's words, all the people kneeling on the ground stood up. It was enough to show how prestigious Bibidon was in the martial spirit hall. Chapter 248. After gesturing for everyone to stand up, Bibidon walked gracefully to the center of the stage with the 4 people behind him. After that, a faint smile appeared on Bibidon's face as he swept his gaze across the 8 young soul masters participating in the finals. Very good, very good. I can see hope and dawn from all of you. I believe that the Dolua continent will become even more powerful and prosperous because of your appearance in the future. Bibidon expressed his encouragement to the participating team members, then raised his head and looked forward. His voice, which was imbued with soul power, resounded throughout the entire martial soul holy city. Now, as the current pope of the martial soul hall, I hereby announce that the Continental Advanced Soul Master Academy Elite Tournament's finals have officially begun. Everyone who has entered the finals are outstanding young soul masters. I hope that you can display all your talent and strength in front of the Pope's palace so that you won't have any regrets. At the same time, I will personally give a special gift from the Martial Soul Hall to the champion team in this year's Soul Master Academy Elite Tournament. Bibidon once again lowered his head to look at the members of the battle team that had entered the finals. He gently waved the scepter in his right hand. Immediately, 4 spots of light appeared out of nowhere and rapidly enlarged in front of Bibidon. Finally, they floated in the air. A spatial soul tool. Many soul masters were slightly shocked when they saw the scepter in Bibidon's hand. However, compared to the 4 items floating in midair, the shock brought by Bibidon's scepter paled in comparison. There were 4 different items floating in midair. They weren't very big and looked like bones. They were a right leg bone, a left leg bone, a left arm bone, and a skull bone. They shone with fiery red, dark green, dark blue, and light purple light. That's right, soul bones. These were 4 soul bones. To soul masters, they were the most precious treasures that could only be found by chance. All of the soul masters present held their breaths as they watched the 4 soul bones flicker with light. The entire arena was so quiet that one could hear a pin drop. Other than the few higher-ups of the Martial Soul Hall who knew about the final reward, who would have guessed that the Martial Soul Hall would take out 4 incomparably precious soul bones as the reward. That wasn't all. Judging from the light emitted from the soul bones, these 4 soul bones were definitely precious soul bones. They came from powerful soul beasts that were at least 10,000 years old. It had to be known that the more powerful a soul bone was, the more beneficial it was to a soul master, and the more valuable it was to a soul master. Looking at these 4 soul bones, the eyes of all the soul masters present flickered with desire. They could even be said to be greedy. Shrek's 7 monsters and the higher-ups of the Martial Soul Hall were no exception. If not for the fact that there were several titled Dolois present, and that Pope Bibidon was also a powerful titled Dolois, there might have been some desperados who couldn't suppress their greed and came forward to snatch the soul bones. The only person present who could remain calm in front of so many soul bones was probably Wang Kai. To Wang Kai, who had the infinite martial soul system, soul bones weren't too rare. Furthermore, he already knew what the final reward was, so he wasn't too surprised. At this moment, Gui Mei, who was behind Bibidon, stepped forward. He slowly raised his right hand and pointed at the 4 soul bones. He used his deep voice to introduce them. The 4 soul bones awarded for this competition are the explosive and burning flaming right arm, the rapid wind-chasing left leg, the slow and decelerating mysterious water left arm, and the illusory control skull. Furthermore, I can tell everyone that these 4 soul bones came from 10,000-year soul beasts. They're extremely precious and are all of the best quality. Apart from the legendary external soul bone and the top-tier soul bone from a 100,000-year soul beast, these 4 soul bones can be said to be of the highest quality. After his introduction, Gui Dolois took a step back and disappeared behind Bibidon. There's no first place in literature, and there's no second place in martial arts. There can only be one winner, and it's the same for the champion. Therefore, these 4 soul bones will be awarded to the final champion team. Young soul masters who have entered the finals, I hope that you can give it your all and work hard for the championship. After he finished speaking, Bibidon led the 3 titled Dolois behind him and Ning Fengji to a row of gilded chairs in front of the pontiff's palace. Bibidon sat in the middle, while Gui Dolois and Chrysanthemum Dolois sat on her left. Gui Dolois and Chrysanthemum Dolois sat on her right. After hearing about the rewards for the finals, many of the soul masters' eyes flashed with fighting spirit. However, they also knew that although the Martial Soul Hall seemed to be giving out 4 soul bones selflessly, these 4 soul bones were actually prepared for the Martial Soul Hall team. With Wang Kai, who was a soul emperor who could suppress everything, what else could happen if these 4 soul bones fell into the hands of the Martial Soul Hall team? After seeing Bibidon and the other 4 take their seats, the Holy Dragon Dolois quickly walked out from the side. As the person in charge of the tournament, the Holy Dragon Dolois briefly explained the rules of the tournament to the invited guests and participating teams. It was different from the preliminaries, promotion, and qualification rounds. In order to fully display the strength of each academy, the Soul Master Tournament's finals would be held in parallel with the individual and team competitions. The rules of the team competition didn't change at all, but the rules of the individual competition were that each team would send 7 Soul Masters to fight. The loser would leave the stage, and the winner could continue to fight until all the members of a team were defeated. That team would lose the battle. Similarly, for the sake of fairness, every 2 teams would have to fight once in the finals. There would be a total of 28 individual and team rounds, making for a total of 56 battles. Furthermore, the weight of the individual and team rounds was the same. The winning team would have a share of the points, while the losing team wouldn't. The ranking and the champion would be determined by the number of points they scored. As for the order of the competition, the team rounds would start first, followed by the individual rounds. There would be 4 matches in the morning and 4 in the afternoon every day, and all the matches would be completed in 7 days. After the rules of the tournament were announced, the opening ceremony of the finals officially came to an end. After the opening ceremony ended, each team had 3 days to rest and prepare. At the same time, they were allowed to visit some places in Martial Soul Saint City and experience some things. Hence, Bibidon, Ghost Dolois, Sword Dolois, Chrysanthemum Dolois, and Ning Fengji left the stage first. The other teams also left the stage in succession. Chapter 249. After 3 days of rest, all the teams had recuperated and made many tactical arrangements during this time. On the morning of the fourth day, the Martial Soul Hall's team, Shrek Academy's team, Skywater Academy's team, Star Luo Imperial Academy's team, Divine Wind Academy's team, Heaven Do Imperial Academy's team, Star Luo Ironblood Academy's team, and Blazing Academy's team gathered on the stage in front of the Pope's Palace to prepare for the Soul Master Tournament's finals. Unlike 4 days ago, Pope Bibidon didn't appear on stage today. However, everyone's fighting spirit didn't decrease at all. Although most of the teams knew that they didn't have the ability to touch the champion's position, and that they had no fate with the 4 precious soul bones, if they could obtain a good ranking in the tournament, they would be able to obtain a huge amount of rewards, which would be very helpful to their future development. In the first battle of the finals, Wang Kai's team from the Martial Soul Hall's team would be facing 7 members from the Blazing Academy's team. Although the Blazing Academy's team had only entered the losers bracket as 3rd place in their group, they had also stood out through their own efforts to enter the finals. As for the 7 members of the Blazing Academy's team, they had 2 Soul Kings and 5 Soul Ancestors. In terms of strength, they were in the 2nd tier of the participating teams. The 7 members of the Blazing Academy's team were Captain Huo Wushuang, a rank 51 Assault-type Soul Master. Martial Soul, Horned Fire Tyrannosaurus. Vice Captain Huo Wu, a rank 51 Transparent Direct-type Soul Master. Martial Soul, Fire Shadow. Hui Yun, a rank 47 Agility-type Soul Master. Martial Soul, Blazing Fire Cloud. Huo Lai, a rank 48 Agility-type Soul Master. Martial Soul, High Temperature Blazing Fire. Huo Chue, a rank 47 Agility-type Soul Master. Martial Soul, Blazing Hammer. Huo Jun, a rank 44 Auxiliary-type Soul Master. Martial Soul, Fire God Horse. Hui Yu, a rank 46 Agility-type Soul Master. Martial Soul, Magma Rain. When the battle started, the Blazing Fire Academy's team immediately released their martial souls. Immediately, balls of various kinds of flames ignited in the sky above the Blazing Fire Academy, appearing exceptionally gorgeous. However, there was also an endless amount of danger hidden within them, causing the temperature of the environment to rise by a notch. On the other side, the members of the Martial Spirit Hall released their martial souls one after another. Unlike the Blazing Fire Academy, whose martial souls were all of the fire element, the Martial Spirit Hall's martial souls were undoubtedly more varied. They were colorful and extremely beautiful, but they were also more powerful. Although their strength was far inferior to the Martial Soul Hall Academy, the members of the Blazing Fire Academy didn't reveal the slightest bit of cowardice. After all, this was a competition and not a life and death battle. Even if they lost, they would still fight to the fullest. Explosive Fire Dragon Charge. Blazing Fire Cloud. Blazing Meteor. Blazing Hammer. Domain of Raging Fire. Meteor Shower. Following the start of the battle, all the members of the Blazing Fire Academy went all out, releasing their strongest soul skills. For a moment, 5 purple soul rings and 1 black soul ring lit up behind the other 5 members and Captain Huo Wushuang. Behind Vice Captain Huo Wu, her 5 soul rings actually lit up at the same time. Ring fusion? Outside of the stage, the eyes of many experienced soul masters couldn't help but light up. Ring fusion was a very special technique that required a certain amount of talent. Only a few soul masters with special martial souls could possess this ability after going through training. Ring fusion could superimpose the soul power released when a soul master's soul rings were unleashed, releasing a large amount of soul power in an instant to use a soul skill, causing a powerful explosion that exceeded one's rank. After Huo Wu released her ring fusion, the fire shadow behind her instantly turned white due to the powerful soul power that was poured into it. Soon after, incandescent flames condensed in the palm of Huo Wu's hand, transforming into a ball of white light the size of a tennis ball that shot explosively towards Wang Kai. After releasing this soul skill, Huowu's complexion immediately turned pale. "Come at me." Looking at the frightening flames flying towards him, Wang Kai only smiled faintly. Facing such an attack, if Wang Kai used Shura's possession, he could even use his physical body to resist it without being injured. Even the strongest of these soul skills, the blazing fireball that Huowu released through her ring fusion technique, was barely comparable to an all-out attack from an ordinary mid-stage soul emperor. How could it pose any threat to Wang Kai? "Break for me." Focusing his mind and gathering his chi, Wang Kai fiercely struck out with his spear, followed by 3 consecutive spear strikes. 3 blood-colored spear shadows broke through the air, completely dispersing the flames that filled the sky. Even Huowu's blazing fireball only lasted for a few seconds before exploding. "Let's go." With a faint smile, Wang Kai led his team members to charge up and kill their way to the front of the Blazing Academy's team. At this time, Huowu used her ring of resistance, and the other team members also used various methods to obstruct Wang Kai's method. Of course, these little tricks couldn't control Wang Kai at all. Wang Kai easily broke through them and killed his way to the front of the Blazing Academy's team members. Afterwards, he fired 2 consecutive spears, sweeping Huowu and Huowushuang off the stage. At this time, the other members of the Blazing Academy's team also decisively chose to admit defeat. They'd already displayed their strongest state, and this was already enough. There was no need for them to end up injured. Leaving a good state would also allow them to continue their afternoon matches. The Martial Soul Hall wins. Faced with such a result, not a single Soul Master was surprised. However, the Martial Soul Hall's speed of victory was really too fast, and the price they paid was too small. It was really a complete instant defeat. If they didn't have a Martial Soul Fusion skill, there probably wouldn't be a single team participating in the tournament that could resist the Martial Soul Hall's team. Right now, the only team that could possibly threaten the Martial Soul Hall was Shrek Academy. Everyone started to pay attention to this Dark Horse team that had made it to the finals. This was especially so after Bibi Dong said that he knew Tang San's teacher. Shrek Academy received even more attention. Even if they couldn't become the champions, with Shrek Academy's abilities, they would definitely be able to get into the top 3 in this tournament. Coupled with their relationship with the Pope, many Soul Masters felt that a group of new stars were about to rise. After the match between the Martial Soul Hall's team and the Blazing Academy's team, the matches continued. In the next 3 matches, the Heaven Do Imperial Academy narrowly defeated the Divine Wind Academy's team, the Shrek Academy easily defeated the Star Luo Iron Blood Academy's team, and the Star Luo Imperial Academy's team defeated the Skywater Academy's team by a certain margin. After an afternoon of rest and treatment, the various teams had basically recovered their soul power and vitality, and the matches continued. In this round, the Martial Soul Hall's opponent was the Skywater Academy's team. Facing the Martial Soul Hall's team that had defeated them before, the Skywater Academy's team didn't choose to use a Martial Soul Fusion skill, which was extremely exhausting. Instead, like the Blazing Academy's team, they used their strongest soul skill to attack. In the end, they directly admitted defeat when the Martial Soul Hall's team charged over. Faced with a team as strong as the Martial Soul Hall's team, the various teams basically didn't have the heart to fight to the death. After all, rather than being beaten to a pulp or even getting injured, it was better to preserve some soul power and condition to deal with other opponents. This way, it would be easier for them to obtain a good ranking. Chapter 250. The first day of the competition ended very quickly. Facing the results of the competition, the members of each team were both happy and sad. However, the tight schedule of the competition gave them too much time each month to soothe their emotions. Very quickly, the second day of the competition officially kicked off. This time, the Martial Soul Palace's opponent was the Heaven Do Imperial Academy. Compared to the original timeline, the Heaven Do Imperial Academy's main lineup was still Yu Tianheng, Duguyen, Graphite, Stone Mill, Imperial Wind, Iso, and Yi Lingling. However, their strength had increased significantly. The 7 main members of the Heaven Do Imperial Academy were Team Leader, Yu Tianheng, Martial Soul, Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon, Rank 52 Assault Type Soul Master. Soul Rings, 2 yellow, 2 purple, and 1 black. Vice Team Leader, Duguyen, Martial Soul, Jade Phosphorus Snake, Rank 48 Control Type Soul Master. Soul Rings, 2 yellow, 2 purple. Team Leader, Graphite, Martial Soul, Black Tortoise, Rank 47 Defense Type Soul Master. Soul Rings, 2 yellow, 2 purple. Team Member, Stone Mill, Martial Soul, Black Tortoise, Rank 47 Defense Type Soul Master. Soul Rings, 2 yellow, 2 purple. Team Member, Imperial Wind, Martial Soul, Windsheam Bird, Rank 46 Agility Type Soul Master. Soul Rings, 2 yellow, 2 purple. Team Member, Iso, Martial Soul, Ghost Leopard, Rank 45 Agility Type Soul Master. Soul Rings, 2 yellow, 2 purple. Team Member, Yi Lingling, Martial Soul, 9-Hearted Begonia, Rank 44 Auxiliary Type Soul Master. Soul Rings, 2 yellow, 2 purple. Compared to the other teams that had entered the finals, the Heaven Do Imperial Academy's team only had a single Soul King, Yu Tianheng. They didn't even have a Martial Soul Fusion skill as a trump card. As a result, their strength was at the bottom of the rankings. If they hadn't been lucky enough to defeat the weaker Heavenly Glory Academy, they wouldn't have even been able to enter the finals. However, this team wasn't without any redeeming qualities. The captain of this team, Yu Tianheng, possessed a top-tier beast soul, the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon. He was very strong, and even though he had just become a Soul King, his fighting strength was comparable to that of a high-level Soul King. For a normal Soul Master, this was something to be proud of. In addition, the team's support, Yi Lingling's Martial Soul, was equally powerful. Her Martial Soul was known as the continent's strongest healing Martial Soul, the 9-Hearted Begonia. The 9-Hearted Begonia was only adept at one type of ability, and it only had one soul skill no matter how many soul rings it had. However, this didn't stop it from becoming an extremely powerful Martial Soul. The 9-Hearted Begonia's ability was very simple. It was a terrifyingly powerful area of effect healing ability. The degree of healing could be controlled by the Soul Master's will. The higher the Soul Master's rank and the more soul rings the Soul Master had, the more soul power the 9-Hearted Begonia could use to heal, and the stronger the healing effect. If a 9-Hearted Begonia Soul Master could become a Soul Sage, then their healing abilities would be able to bring the dead back to life. As long as the person they were healing was still breathing, they could rely on their powerful martial souls to save them. However, the strength of the 9-Hearted Begonia did not come without a price. The price of becoming a 9-Hearted Begonia Soul Master was that the 9-Hearted Begonia Martial Soul lineage could only have one successor per generation. This meant that there could only be 2 9-Hearted Begonia Soul Masters living in the world at the same time. Only when one of them died could another 9-Hearted Begonia Soul Master appear in the future. Because of this, the 9-Hearted Begonia Martial Soul could be said to be one of the rarest martial souls. Of course, this wasn't the reason why Wang Kai treated Yi Lingling differently. What really made Wang Kai treat Yi Lingling differently was her extremely beautiful appearance. Yi Lingling's head was covered with a faint black veil. Her body was slender, and her long blue hair flowed down her back like a waterfall. Her eyes, which were the same color as her hair, did not reveal any emotions. Her face was also very indifferent. There was no sadness, no joy, no grief, and no anger. She seemed to give off a faint feeling of nothingness, which made people feel a strong desire to conquer her. Not only that, but Yi Lingling's figure was also extremely slender. Her posture was extremely graceful, and her every move revealed endless mystery and elegance. Her skin was also extremely good. It was as smooth and white as the most gorgeous nephrite. It made people want to knead it. Her figure was also very exquisite. Her arms were snow-white and slender. Together with her perfect figure, they formed the most perfect proportion. It was very attractive. In Wang Kai's eyes, if a beauty's appearance was graded from 0 to 10, 0 meant that she could be considered a beauty, and 10 meant that she was a top-notch beauty. In his big family, Chihiro Snow was worthy of 9. 5 points. Mo Shu, Ning Yuxian, Dai Qingli, and Zhu Yiling were slightly inferior. They were around 9 points. As for the two sisters who had just joined Wang Kai's big family, the elder sister Shui Bing, appearance was around 8. 5 points, and the younger sister Shui Yu appearance was around 8 points. However, with the sisters' attributes, they could add half a point to them. Yi Lingling, who was in front of him, was definitely a high score of 8. 5 points. She was an extremely top-notch beauty. In addition to her martial soul, she was completely qualified to enter Wang Kai's big family and become Chihiro Snow's sister. As soon as he saw Yi Lingling, Wang Kai had already fallen in love with this gorgeous, mysterious, and tri-attribute beauty. He decided to take her into his big family and make her one of his wives. He wanted her to serve him wholeheartedly. Although Wang Kai had so many members in his big family, Wang Kai was completely immune to beauties like Huo Wu and Du Guyan, who were around 60 to 70 points. However, Wang Kai was still very fond of beauties like Yi Lingling. This was especially true for her tri-attribute beauty that attracted Wang Kai. Wang Kai was determined to conquer her. With a thirsty look in his eyes, Wang Kai admired Yi Lingling's beauty as he led the other 6 members of the Martial Soul Palace team to the stage. On the other side, the 7 Soul Masters from the Heaven Do Imperial Academy also entered the stage one by one. The two teams lined up separately. Everyone, silence. Seeing that the two teams had entered the stage, the host gave the order in a loud voice. Both teams bow to each other. Seeing that the stage had quietened down, the host continued to instruct the two teams to bow to each other. Heaven Do Imperial Academy Team, Team Leader Yu Tianheng, Rank 52 Assault Type Soul King. Martial Soul Palace Team, Team Leader Wang Kai, Rank 63 Assault Type Soul Emperor. Wang Kai and Yu Tianheng bowed to each other, and the rest of the team followed suit. Both teams, prepare to release your martial souls. After the greetings, the host continued to announce the release of their martial souls and the start of the battle. Chapter 251. At this moment, Wang Kai finally saw the legendary 9-hearted begonia. A ball of gentle white light appeared in Yi Lingling's hand, and within the light, there was a 9-petaled pink begonia flower. The petals were pink and white, and the flower was gorgeous and beautiful. The leaves and branches of the 9-petaled begonia flower slid down from Yi Lingling's palms. The soft branches swayed in the wind, and it was very beautiful. With the appearance of the 9-hearted begonia, Yi Lingling's temperament also underwent a certain change. From the original loneliness, she suddenly became full of vitality. The surface of her body also revealed a layer of faint white light, making her skin appear even fairer and more tender. Her entire person also appeared even more beautiful and moving. Beside Yi Lingling, the other 6 members of the Heaven Do Imperial Academy's team also released their martial souls. In an instant, the entire arena was covered by a beautiful soul power. Begin. Following the referee's words, the Heaven Do Imperial Academy's formation changed. Standing at the very front of the Heaven Do Imperial Academy's team were the Shi brothers, who possessed the martial soul of the Xuanwu tortoise. They were also the defense-type soul masters of the team. The two of them stood on the left and right like 2 stone pillars. As they roared, an earthen yellow light rose from the soles of their feet. Their bodies emitted the sound of their bones exploding. Their muscles, which were as hard as granite, swelled crazily and doubled in size. Not only that, as they released their martial souls to possess their bodies leaned forward slightly, forming the shape of a bow. The earthen yellow light formed from their soul power quickly gathered behind their backs, forming a huge, dark yellow tortoiseshell. It flickered with a pale yellow light and appeared incomparably sturdy. At the same time, the Sure brothers' bones also underwent significant changes after the appearance of the tortoiseshell. Their limbs shortened a little with the appearance of the tortoiseshell, and thick tortoiseshell grew between their fingers. A layer of sturdy scales appeared on their chests and abdomens, protecting their bodies. The Xuanwu turtle was a very powerful martial soul. In terms of defense, it was only slightly inferior to the elephant armor sex diamond mammoth. As members of the Heaven Do Imperial Academy's team, the Sure brothers were also very strong. Not only that, the Sure brothers had a special bloodline connection that allowed them to transfer half of the damage they received to each other. This increased the strength of their attacks by a lot. They could take an all-out attack from a high-level Soul King without taking any damage. They could also take an all-out attack from a low-level Soul Emperor at the cost of some light injuries. Behind the Sure brothers was the team leader of the Heaven Do Imperial Academy's team, Yu Tianheng. After using the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon's possession, Yu Tianheng's right arm, left leg, and right leg had turned into dragon claws. A lightning symbol appeared between his eyebrows, and blue lightning danced around Yu Tianheng's body with crackling sounds. At the same time, Yu Tianheng's aura increased by a lot, and he exuded a faint draconic pressure. Beside Yu Tianheng was the granddaughter of the titled Doluo Dugubo, who had been killed by Wang Kai Duguyen. Her eyes were jade green, and they exuded a dangerous light. A snake tail appeared behind her, swaying back and forth in the air. Behind the two of them, in the center of the team, was Wang Kai and Wang Kai's favorite, Yi Lingling. At the back of the team was the Black Panther, Iso, and the Winchim, Yu Feng. The Black Panther Iso's body didn't change much, but his pupils suddenly became two vertical lines. Sharp claws extended from his hands, and he exuded a dangerous aura. A pair of medium-sized brownish-yellow wings appeared behind Imperial Wind's body, and he floated into the air. When the battle began, Wang Kai led the members of the Martial Soul Hall to charge forward. Wang Kai tangled with Yu Tianheng, while the other Soul Masters found their opponents one after another and began to fight. Boundless Blood Spear. Wang Kai didn't say anything when he arrived in front of Yu Tianheng. He raised his spear and stabbed. Of course, Wang Kai didn't use his full strength. He only used the strength of a mid-level Soul Emperor. A Soul Master like Yu Tianheng wasn't worthy of Wang Kai's full strength. Thunderbolt Slash. Following a low roar, Yu Tianheng's fifth soul ring flashed. A dazzling blade of lightning appeared in Yu Tianheng's hand. It exuded blue lightning, and appeared very dangerous. After that, Yu Tianheng waved it, and the thunderbolt slash flew towards Wang Kai. Insignificant skill. There was a look of contempt in his eyes. Wang Kai's Shura Dragonslayer's spear destroyed Yu Tianheng's thunderbolt slash. After that, the spear swept across Yu Tianheng's arm. Immediately, the sound of bones breaking could be heard, and Yu Tianheng's face turned pale. At this moment, the third purple soul ring behind Yi Lingling, who was at the back of the group, flashed. A pale white light flew out from the nine-hearted begonia in her hand and floated towards Yu Tianheng's arm. Immediately, Yu Tianheng's arm, which was originally drooping, returned to normal. What powerful healing abilities! Looking at the healing effects of Yi Lingling's soul skill, Wang Kai couldn't help but reveal a trace of adoration in his eyes. With such outstanding healing abilities, coupled with Yi Lingling's beautiful figure, he had to take her into his big family no matter what. Again, although he was injured, Yu Tianheng wasn't discouraged. He continued to attack Wang Kai. However, Wang Kai revealed a mocking smile and attacked again. At the same time that Wang Kai and Yu Tianheng were fighting, the other members of the team were already standing in one place. Hu Laina directly entangled the Sure brothers. Although the Sure brothers' physical defense was very strong, they were quickly tricked by Hu Laina, who was proficient in spiritual attacks. They were quickly bewitched by Hu Laina's charm skill, and their eyes revealed dazed looks. On the other side, Yen was entangled with Duguyen. Although Dugu Yan's snake venom was very strong, Yan's martial soul, the Flame Overlord, could completely suppress Dugu Yan's martial soul. Any poison that came close to Yan's body would be broken down. Even if some poison managed to enter Yan's body, it would be neutralized by his frightening fire bloodline. In addition, Yu Hao and Iso were standing together. Both of them were agility-type soul masters, and their martial souls were also leopard-type. However, Yu Hao's cultivation was an entire realm higher than Iso's, and he had an additional 10,000-year soul ring. He also had more fighting experience, and with the help of Li Yueming's soul skills, Iso was beaten to a pulp. In the end, Evil Moon and Imperial Wind stood together. Although Imperial Wind could fly into the sky, Evil Moon's New Moon Strike and Moonblade Slash were long-range attack. Their power wasn't something that Imperial Wind could withstand. As a result, Imperial Wind could only dodge Evil Moon's attacks pathetically. He relied on his martial soul's ability to fly to survive. Chapter 252. Bang! Another loud sound rang out as Wang Kai swept his spear across Yu Tianheng's arm once more. Shura's dragon-slaying spear carried a huge impact and shattered Yu Tianheng's right arm. However, with Yi Lingling's timely healing, Yu Tianheng's injuries quickly recovered. "You're going to lose." Wang Kai tapped the ground with his feet and transformed into a sharp arrow that shot explosively towards Yu Tianheng, and his speed was so swift that even the air around him shook. Although Yu Tianheng had Yi Lingling's healing, Yi Lingling had to use her third soul skill to heal his broken bones. At the same time, she had to take care of the other injured team members as well. As a soul ancestor, how long could Yi Lingling's soul power last? Wang Kai and Yu Tianheng fought for a few more rounds. Finally, Yi Lingling's soul power was exhausted as she frantically healed Yu Tianheng. Her nine-hearted begonia dimmed in her hands, and she could only leave the stage silently. Without Yi Lingling's help, Yu Tianheng couldn't recover from his injuries. In front of Wang Kai, he didn't have any ability to retaliate. His arm was broken by Wang Kai's spear, and he was kicked off the stage. On the other side, under Hu Liena's control, the Sure brothers had already fought each other until their heads were bleeding. Seeing that Wang Kai had won, Hu Liena stopped teasing them and used her soul skill to make them jump off the stage. At the same time, Yu Hao threw Iso off the stage. Yu Feng's wing was struck by Evilmoon's moonblade and exploded. He fainted on the ground from the intense pain and couldn't move. Duguyen was also forced off the stage by Yan's soul skill. Complete victory, another complete victory. This result was within everyone's expectations. Without a martial soul fusion skill, the Heaven Do Imperial Academy's team didn't have any ability to stop the Martial Soul Hall's team. The reason why the Heaven Do Imperial Academy could last this long was because the Martial Soul Hall had shown mercy. Otherwise, no one would be surprised if all the members of the Heaven Do Imperial Academy were killed in one move. On one side, the competition continued in full swing. On the other side, Wang Kai personally came to the Heaven Do Imperial Academy's side. "Prince Wang Kai, what are you doing here?" Looking at Wang Kai, the instructor and leader of the Heaven Do Imperial Family Academy, Qin Ming, took a step forward with a displeased expression. In his opinion, as the Holy Prince of the Martial Spirit Hall, Wang Kai's only goal in coming to the Heaven Do Imperial Academy was to recruit members of the Academy and have them join the Martial Spirit Hall. Qin Ming was naturally very displeased with this act of poaching. "Mr. Qin, I really admire Miss Yi Lingling from your academy. Therefore, I would like to invite her out for a meal tonight. Does Mr. Qin have any problems with this?" Wang Kai smiled faintly as he looked at Qin Ming. Although Qin Ming's cultivation was higher than his, being a mid-stage Soul Emperor, in terms of fighting strength, even 100 Qin Mings wouldn't be able to stop Wang Kai. They'd be easily slaughtered. "Prince Wang Kai, our team still has to compete in the tournament. Our members need to rest and discuss strategies, so it's not convenient for us to let them out. Please return." Hearing Wang Kai's words, Qin Ming refused with a straight face. Mr. Qin, I'm only inviting Miss Yi out for a meal. It won't affect your competition. Furthermore, Mr. Qin, don't forget that this is Martial Seoul Holy City. Don't refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Wang Kai revealed a trace of displeasure as he looked at Qin Ming. He then activated Emperor Shura's martial soul and released Emperor Shura's terrifying aura towards Qin Ming. Suddenly, Qin Ming felt as if he was in an endless sea of blood, with countless ferocious monsters pouncing on him. Murderous auras and blood auras soared to the sky. Qin Ming immediately felt his legs go soft, and he almost knelt on the ground. What a terrifying aura! Wang Kai only released his aura for an instant, but to Qin Ming, that instant felt longer than 10 years. When Wang Kai finally withdrew his aura, Qin Ming's heartbeat quickened. He couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. Mr. Qin, I'll be going in then. Wang Kai smiled faintly as he looked at the frightened Qin Ming. He then walked into the Heaven Do Imperial Academy's spectator area. At this time, Qin Ming, who was at the side, had long been scared out of his wits. His face was incomparably pale. Not to mention stopping Wang Kai, he didn't even dare to move. Seeing that Wang Kai had left his line of sight, Qin Ming's face recovered a trace of color. Prince Wang Kai, what are you doing here? Seeing Wang Kai walk in, Captain Yu Tianheng immediately took a step forward and asked, Miss Yi Lingling, I admire you very much. I'd like to invite you out tonight. Let's have a meal together and get to know each other. What do you think? Wang Kai glanced at Yu Tianheng, but didn't answer his question. Instead, he walked in front of Yi Lingling with a devilish smile and extended an invitation. Yes, I'm willing. Yi Lingling's eyes were filled with adoration as she looked at Wang Kai. As a soul cultivator, Yi Lingling's Prince Charming was a powerful, handsome, and domineering young soul cultivator like Wang Kai. Yi Lingling gladly accepted Wang Kai's invitation. Her calm face revealed an unconcealable smile. Okay, Linger. Let's meet at the Profound Feather Pavilion at 6 o'clock tonight. Wang Kai nodded his head in satisfaction when he saw the love in Yi Lingling's eyes. Duguyen walked up to Wang Kai and said, Your Highness Wang Kai, if you want to take Lingling out to eat, there's no problem. But you have to bring me along. Oh, why? Looking at Duguyen, Wang Kai's face revealed an unhappy expression as he asked indifferently. Lingling is still young and innocent. I'm afraid that she'll be deceived by bad guys. So I have to stay by her side and protect her from being deceived by the flowery words of some boys. Duguyen looked at Wang Kai provocatively after she finished speaking. Sure, no problem. Wang Kai nodded his head as he looked at Duguyen. He agreed to her request, but his heart was filled with anger. The Dugu clan is truly a bunch of blind people. Dugu Bo dared to injure me, and now his daughter Duguyen wants to interfere with my good deed. But since you came to me yourself, don't blame me for being ruthless. Since he dealt with Duguyen's grandfather, Wang Kai planned to deal with Duguyen as well. Chapter 253. Of course, Wang Kai didn't intend to kill Duguyen like how he dealt with Dugu Bo. After all, this was the martial spirit holy city. If he killed Duguyen, although he had the ability to put her into a small plane and make her disappear from the world, a soul ancestor mysteriously disappearing in the territory of the Martial Spirit Palace would have a bad impact on both the Martial Spirit Palace and himself. However, it was obvious that this wasn't the main reason why Wang Kai let Duguyen go. Although Dugu Bo's appearance wasn't as good as Yi Lingling's, Duguyen's appearance and temperament could reach 6 or even 7 points. Among the beauties, she was one of the best. As a broad-minded and compassionate man, Wang Kai didn't intend to use such cruel means to deal with Duguyen. Moreover, coincidentally, after opening the Advanced System store, Wang Kai also saw a magical item called the Slavery Collar. This item could enslave a soul master below the initial stage of Soul King. It just so happened that Duguyan's strength was only a rank 48 soul ancestor, which was within the control of the slavery collar. Therefore, Wang Kai decided to buy a slavery collar to enslave Duguyan. After a period of time, he would put her into a small plane and make her his exclusive property. That night, in the profound feather pavilion. In the most luxurious private room on the top floor of the profound feather pavilion sat a man and 2 women. It was Wang Kai, Dugubo, and Duguyan who had come to attend the banquet. At this time, Wang Kai had already put on the exclusive uniform of the martial spirit palace. This uniform was similar to the suits on the cerulean planet. It was very well ironed and was inlaid with gorgeous decorations and beautiful gems. Coupled with Wang Kai's extremely handsome face and incomparably strong body, it made Wang Kai look sunny and handsome. He would definitely attract the eyes of all the girls. Looking at Wang Kai, Yi Lingling's body and mind were immediately attracted by Wang Kai. Her heart was in love, and she looked at Wang Kai with eyes full of admiration. Even Duguyan, who faintly hated Wang Kai, had to admit that Wang Kai's appearance was really very handsome and could tug at the heartstrings of all the girls. At this time, Wang Kai also glanced at Yi Lingling and Duguyan opposite him. Because it was not a competition, Yi Lingling was wearing a black gauze dress. The perfect curves of her body were faintly discernible under the black gauze, which made people drool. Yi Lingling's beautiful face was covered with a layer of black gauze, only revealing her watery and lovely big eyes like sapphires. However, the black gauze on Yi Lingling's face did not cover up her beauty at all. On the contrary, it added a mysterious and noble temperament to her, strengthening her beauty and charm. Beside Yi Lingling was Duguyan. Compared to Yi Lingling, Duguyan's figure was undoubtedly more hot and her face was more mature. She revealed the mature beauty of a big sister and had a different charm. Although Wang Kai was more inclined to young girls like Yi Lingling, he had to admit that Duguyan's appearance was indeed worthy of appreciation. Even among the beauties, she was a high-quality beauty with 6 to 7 points. Serve the dishes. Wang Kai smiled as he glanced at Yi Lingling and Duguyan in front of him. Then, he called for the servants of the profound feather pavilion to bring out plates of rare and fragrant dishes. Looking at the dishes in front of her, Yi Lingling's eyes flashed with excitement. She wanted to eat to her heart's content. Even Duguyan could not help but sigh at how luxurious this meal was. Duguyan's grandfather was the titled Doluo Dugubo. Furthermore, she was the only descendant of Dugubo and was deeply doted on by Dugubo. Her family's conditions and treatment could be said to be among the best. Even so, she had only eaten such a sumptuous and high-class meal when she became a soul elder and when she became an adult. As for Yi Lingling, although the 9-hearted begonia family belonged to the Earth 3 sex, because the Earth 3 sex did not have many people and were not strong, Yi Lingling's life had always been rather poor and had never enjoyed such a luxurious meal. Young Miss Duguyan, let's eat together. Wang Kai smiled faintly as he looked at the 2 shocked girls in front of him. Then, he ate to his heart's content with them. An hour later, the 3 of them were full. At this moment, Wang Kai also smiled as he looked at Yi Lingling. Then, he said, "Young Miss Yi Lingling, I admire you very much. Therefore, I would like to invite you to join my Holy Sun Guard after graduation. What do you think?" Hearing Wang Kai's question, Duguyan's eyes immediately revealed a look of vigilance. Before Wang Kai could reply, Duguyan had already spoken first. "Wang Kai, little sister Lingling has already agreed to stay in the Heaven Do Empire after graduation. Don't have any crooked thoughts. Is that so?" Hearing Duguyan's words, Wang Kai did not reveal any expression on his face. Instead, he looked at Yi Lingling. "Yes." After hearing Wang Kai's question, Yi Lingling nodded. "That's not a problem. After all, you haven't joined the Heaven Do Empire yet. I can guarantee that if you join my Holy Sun Guard, you will receive much better resources than the Heaven Do Empire. With the wealth of our martial soul hall, We will definitely not be stingy in nurturing a talented soul master like you. Furthermore, I admire you very much. Not only do I admire your martial soul and abilities, but I also admire your beauty and temperament. If you join my Holy Sun Guard, we will have the opportunity to take a step further and become friends, comrades, and even lovers. What do you think? At this moment, Wang Kai also looked at Yi Lingling with deep affection. His words were filled with gentleness and love. Lover? Really? Does His Highness Wang Kai also like me? After hearing Wang Kai's confession, Yi Lingling's heart was instantly conquered. Originally, after seeing Wang Kai defeated Wang Kai, she had already secretly fallen in love with Wang Kai. She saw him as her Prince Charming. Now that she had heard Wang Kai's confession, Yi Lingling's beautiful face became slightly hot, and her heart could not help but beat faster. Of course, I like Miss Ling very much. Furthermore, I am very willing to discuss the mysteries of the human body with Miss Ling. What do you think, Miss Ling? Looking at the tempted Yi Lingling, Wang Kai also threw out his ultimate move. Wang Kai, you are really shameless. You actually used flowery words to deceive the pure and innocent sister Ling. At this moment, Duguyen finally could not listen to it anymore. He strode forward and pointed at Wang Kai with one hand as he scolded angrily. His other hand formed into a palm and slapped Wang Kai's face. Impudent! Looking at Duguyen, Wang Kai's face suddenly revealed a trace of anger. He grabbed Duguyen's arm and firmly fixed her hand in place. Then, he said coldly, Miss Duguyen, you are really annoying. Originally, I was prepared to let you go if you didn't provoke me. However, I have changed my mind now.